Now we are live. Hello and welcome to episode 80 of the Megavision Show, the companion podcast to Megavision's magazine. Today is April 28th, I think, 2021. I am Scotty Moe. I have killed Graham and taken his arcana, making me the new podcast host. That's right, joining me this week, murdering families for fun and naming himself after the freezing point of water, it's my co-host, Marcin Gulick. And returning from hell to avenge his family in whatever octagon ring he can find, it's Chris Powell. We are live on Twitch, so hang out with us as we discuss what we've been up to. Maybe talk about that magazine we've been doing stuff. Believe it or not, it does revolve around that. We are a physical magazine. Did you forget that? We sure didn't. We're going to tell you why. And later on, we'll be going into an in-depth discussion about the new Mortal Kombat movie. We'll start with spoiler-free and then go hog wild with plenty of notice if you're watching live. All this and more in the Megavision Show. Coming back right now because I hit that button and it was a seamless transition. It's fucking perfect, everybody. So that's right. We are here. Let us know how levels are in Twitch. TJ, I know you're in there and you do that all the time. Like I said, we're live, so hopefully nothing explodes. But we're going to go around the table, see what everybody's been up to. So we're going to start with the newcomer to the podcast. Chris, what is life?
It feels like I haven't been on one of these shows in a long time, so I've actually been really excited. So I'm glad to be back. Before I get into what I've been up to since I've been on the show last, I do want to give a quick update on the magazine. Now, if you guys watching or listening aren't on our Patreon, which you should be, but if you're not, you may not have got the message that we put out about a month ago that we're basically redesigning the magazine, and that's why we haven't published an issue for quite a while now. So we've been at work redesigning the magazine, and I'm really excited because we're basically done with the redesign now. So now basically we shift over to full production on the next issue of the magazine, and we're super excited because things are happening and we're actually churning out layouts. We had our first kind of official layout that was done today, and it's for, well, I guess we could just say it was Graham's Golden Axe Beast Rider review, which is kind of infamous. We've talked about it on the podcast for a while, but it's kind of fun that we're going to have that in there, and we're going to do a lot of neat stuff. So we said in that post that we are going to use some of the original content that we had already done for that issue. We're going to still use quite a bit of that, but there's going to be a lot of new content as well, and we're going to be adding in new features, new columns. We're bringing in new writers, some really exciting writers that I'm really happy about bringing on because I think they can add some stuff to the team that we haven't had before or hadn't had enough of. So I'm really excited about that. I think we're going to be sharing some more stuff here shortly in the next few weeks. So be looking out on Patreon and just the website and everything else, because we are going to be sharing some details shortly, and things are happening. Things are getting really exciting. So I don't know if you guys have anything to say on that.
I think you summarized it pretty well. I don't think we want to reveal all our cards at once, but yeah, we're in the process of redesigning the magazine. So definitely look forward to more information in the upcoming weeks ahead.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Maybe we'll have our own state of play.
Yeah, we'll have our own Megavision's state of play.
Sure.
Yeah. And then beforehand, we'll just release an awesome trailer for Ratchet and Clank. No, outside of that, I hit a deer while I was away from the podcast. Thankfully, we were in my wife's truck and not my car, or else it would have been way worse. But we had to replace the whole front end, basically. We just got the car back today,
Oh.
It did quite a bit of damage, unfortunately.
To your bank account?
To the bank account. It was about $1,000 that I had to drop today just to get a new
Screw
front end
that.
on my wife's truck. So that sucked. But it's good that it's back, and thankfully we were safe. I was probably more worried because Odin was with us. We were on the way back from his soccer game. It was so weird because it was just like right in the middle of the day. It was like around 10:30, 11 o'clock. And I'm driving, and it was on this like 2-lane busy road right in town, and a deer just runs right in front of me out of nowhere. And there's nothing I could do. I was like, God damn it. I knew I was going to hit it. There's nothing I could do. And I hit it and just like skids across the pavement. And I was more worried because Odin's in the back, and I'm like, God, he's going to freak out.
You scarred him.
And he didn't care. He was like, he thought it was cool. And so I was like way more worried
Can
about
we do it again?
Yeah, he's like, let's go hunt deer. No, but it was a kind of a weird experience. It wasn't the first time I've hit a deer on here. It's the second time in about 2 or 3 years. So, man, it's
Same car?
No, I was in my Tahoe the first time, and I don't know if you remember that. I don't have it anymore. I traded it in when I got my Challenger, but my Tahoe had this giant zombie like killing grill on the front, this big giant steel bumper guard.
Yep.
I had a deer going like 50 miles an hour, and all it did was dent the front end of the bar a little bit. It did no damage to my car, very little. Actually, it did break the headlight, but outside of that, but thankfully I was out of the car and we were all safe, and we could kind of move on. So Jamie's happy she gets her truck back. Outside of that, we've been watching some Rick and Morty, Jamie and I together, and that's funny because I would never in 100 years think that she would sit down and watch Rick and Morty with me because she's just totally not into that kind of stuff. But she's actually really enjoying it, and it's been this like fun thing that we've been doing when we get some alone time or while we're making dinner together. We'll just put an episode on and just in the background, and a lot of the jokes, like I will say, like Jerry and Beth's relationship is just hilarious to me personally. Just I feel bad for how much just everyone shits on Jerry. He deserves it.
Do you identify as Jerry?
No, not at all. I just kind of feel bad because it's just like, man, he's such a. I mean, I feel like he brings a lot of it on himself, but a lot of just the marriage dynamics that are at play between him and Beth are really funny, and I think a lot of it is like why Jamie and I laugh so much about it. It's just like all their weirdness at play. So we're going through season 1. We're almost done with season 1 right now, and so we'll be hitting up season 2 here pretty soon. But I'm enjoying it, and I think I'm enjoying it more because I've watched a lot of this stuff already. I've watched most of these episodes, but it's awesome when you could bring someone who probably would never watch something like that, or just something that you love and enjoy, and you sit down with them and they really like it. You didn't expect them to, and it's kind of a surprising thing, and it was awesome for me. So I'm really enjoying that. Outside of that, I did get a few pickups. I went to the library today. I was telling you guys before the podcast, my daughter is all about researching prominent female like social activists and things like that. So I'm all about it. It was great. So I got to go to the library with her today, and I got Carl Sagan's Contact, which I've never read Sagan before, but I've always wanted to. And I saw someone renting or checking out the last time I was in the library. I was like, man, I should read that book. If next time I'm in the library, if they have it, I'm definitely gonna get it. So, luckily for me, they did have it. I'm gonna be reading that this week, and so hopefully the next time I'm on, I can kind of talk a little bit about it. And then I got some DVD pickups, which I'm really excited about. The first one is Cyber City. I'm gonna butcher the Oeda 808.
It's probably Ito or Weedo.
I think TJ's in the chat, so he'll probably
TJ, help us.
me. Yeah, but this is a pretty cool anime. The reason why I got it though is I was talking to Luis Martins, who's one of our artists in Megavisions, but he has done the art for Paprium. He's also done art for a lot of different other games, but he was saying that for Paprium, one of the inspirations that he took was from this anime, and I really love the character designs that he did for Paprium. They're so interesting to look at. It just look like old school anime from the the 80s that I really dig. So when he told me that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick that up, and it finally came in. I think it was a Discotheque Media pre-order that came through. It was weird.
He's also done Demons of Asaborg, which I reported on a week ago, that they just revealed their cover art. So I think he had his hand in that too.
That's right. He did. I think he.
Can you hold it up again there, Chris? TJ was asking what's its name again. I don't want to try to say it.
Cyber City Oeda.
O-E-I-O. I can't even spell it while looking at it. O-E-D-O. Bingo was his name-o.
Yep.
But yeah, that's cool.
I got through one episode so far on that. Oh, and then the last one is I got water all over this. God damn it.
Ooh, Vincent Price.
A Vincent Price collection. I love old school horror. You guys know that. But this one has some good movies on it, and this was a Scream Factory release, I think, that was about to go out of print. So I was like, okay, I have to buy it. But it has The Pit and the Pendulum, The Mask of the Red Death, The Haunted Palace, The Fall of the House of Usher, and a few others. But it's a good one. I think it was like $30. So anytime I can get a good bundle for horror like that, I always pick them up. The Hammer collections are also some really good ones if you're interested in getting into some old school horror stuff. So, but that's it. That's what I've been up to.
So you guys contact, does that mean we got an interview with him soon or something? Carl Sagan's contact. You got his contact?
Oh,
yeah. All right. Flawless. Great.
Like
awesome.
10 minutes late.
Cool. Well, I wasn't gonna interrupt you. Marcin, tell us something.
It would have made sense if you did that.
Oh boy. I was actually gonna comment on the horror stuff. Yeah. I think it was a couple weeks ago we started watching some of the old school Universal monster films, because I don't think I truly watched one from like beginning to end. So we saw a swamp monster or whatever, a creature from the Black Lagoon.
Swamp monster.
Yeah, swamp monster, whatever it's called.
That's like something I imagine you called him when you're like 6 years old. You didn't know his name.
Swamp monster. Yeah,
Swamp monster.
Creature from the Black Lagoon when I was 6.
That
Gilman
guy.
is nobody else that goes by.
Yeah, Gilman.
And Frankenstein.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, old Boltnik.
I think we also saw Dracula, but yeah, I think it was like around the same time we also bought Horrified, that board game where you're basically fending off Universal monsters and you're working together to, kill the monsters in this village. It's actually quite fun. If people like tabletop games, I think, and you're a fan of horror movies, you'll like Horrified.
I saw that one in Barnes & Noble, and I was looking at it. I almost picked it up, but I did not.
I think
so
good to hear that. Yeah, if you want to play.
It's I had it a while ago, or I got it a while ago because I asked Marcin if you had played it before, and I was kind of explaining it to you. But Chris, for relevance for you, it's more intricate than Mixtape, but because of that, it's more interesting, I would say. Mixtape, bare bones Mixtape is pretty straightforward, and not much goes on until you get those add-ons, from what I've understood.
Oh my god, the add-ons to Mixtape do some crazy stuff. We've got 2 of them, and it's a completely different game.
Yeah, but I would say, I've said this before, for people that have played Arkham Horror, that is a crazily intricate game. Horrified is like that, but way more streamlined, because it is co-op and you are fighting monsters, and yeah.
I think it's definitely simple enough to pick up. I don't think it's as complicated to explain as like, is it House on Haunted Hill, where you have like 60 scenarios and you're, exploring a mansion, everyone has stats, and, you roll dice and all that stuff. So definitely something I would look into if people are doing that. On my end, anyway, I haven't really picked up anything, but I've been continuously looking for the PlayStation 5. I've downloaded an app called Hotstock, and they, show me the notifications of any time the PS5 goes in stock, at GameStop or Best Buy or whatever. And like within a minute or two of those notifications, when I go on that website, it already says it's sold out, and I refresh and, go back and forth, and it's just sold out every single time. And I think the PS5 came out in November, so it's basically been, I don't know, 6 months or so.
5 or 6 months,
6 months, yeah. and it's like still has that same, the same vibe as if it was like during, launch time, where like you gotta wait in line and you gotta get your credit card ready and your payment information, or otherwise you're screwed.
This is some bullshit. Like, what are we doing with our lives that we're doing this? You remember when?
I know.
Who was it? Was it Kutaragi or who was it? Maybe it was the one before him. The Sony CEO, that when they were discussing the PlayStation 3 price, that he was like, "Oh, it's exorbitantly priced, and it's for people that maybe they'll go out and get a second job and work extra hours so you can afford." Afford this.
I don't even remember. Was that really what
that
they were
motherfucker's right, man. People will do that.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
they're willing to go and do stupid stuff like that to get these PlayStation 5s and pay like crazy prices for it, man. They're nuts.
I do remember that.
Like
quote.
they have like some retails where like they're selling the console, but it's like for $1,200. I'm like, I'm not gonna shell out $1,200. Like I want to get one, but I don't need to pay double the price of what it's worth. And GameStop has some bundles, so I was like, looking at those too. Like I'm open to getting a bundle because at least it includes games and an additional controller, which I would buy anyway.
Right.
But yeah, it's still an ongoing painful process, and I don't know how people are getting that shit. But
I think most people aren't. I think a lot of people are. I mean, there are some people that are getting lucky, but I think a lot of people are just having to go through eBay and like Facebook Marketplace and buy it from resellers and stuff like that. And honestly, I don't think there's a reason to do it right now. What is out that's exclusive to the PlayStation 5 that you can only play on the PlayStation 5 that you need to play right now?
There is one game now out this week.
What?
At the time of this recording, Returnal is the first exclusive on this new platform of gaming systems that we have.
Do you know what it got in terms of reviews?
I don't know. Probably have an easier time grabbing it than a system.
That's true. I think.
Can you imagine that though? Like in previous generations, the notion of a system is going to be out for 6 months before it has an exclusive game.
I feel an exclusive game. I mean, I feel like other launch. I feel like the PS4 did the PS4 have any exclusive games? I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but on a
two that immediately come to mind are Killzone and that Infamous thing.
And those were exclusive?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are first-party games.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there you go. Yeah, I was gonna say like Spider-Man Miles Morales, but that's also on PS4 technically.
Which I get why they did that, and I'm not necessarily saying that is a bad thing to have that, just multi-console parity, at launch. It makes sense, but you need to start. I don't think though that like every single game has to be that. Like you need to have something to get people buying these systems. Which I say that no, you don't, because people are fucking buying them. Like Marcin is going out trying to buy them, and there's really nothing to play on it that you need it for right now.
It is. It's insane and hilarious that they basically relied on this new generation of console to be backwards compatible with the last gen, and like look how massive our launch library is of all these PS4 games you can play on your PS5. By the way, we know you guys don't want to play any of these older games. I'm Jim Ryan. I'm a fucking idiot. And so we're going to take away all those digital stores. Oops, you guys screamed at me, and it's a good thing I don't have social media accounts, because I would be dead 6 waves from I'm so pissed off about it I can't even talk. But what I'm saying is they relied on the last gen for their launch games, and then they said, we want to shut down the other stores of the older systems. Oh wait, we're bringing those back. Oh, but you still don't have any PS5 games. We don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, like, we actually got like a PS5 game for Christmas because we were expecting to get it within like the next couple weeks. We're like, oh yeah, we'll totally be getting it. And 6 months later, it's just sitting in its saran wrap in my nightstand. Waiting for it to be open. And I also I held off on playing finishing some of my games like Ghost of Tsushima and those kinds of games because they get upgrades, when you play it on like a PS4 Pro, which I don't have, and I didn't get it because I knew a PS5 was coming out soon. And then, other games that I have that could take advantage of my 4K because I just have a base PS4. Right, so at least in that respect, it would be quicker in terms of performance, and it would look better. But again, yeah, it's just been a struggle to actually find one. And I get it, COVID and manufacturing and all that fun stuff, but yeah,
What the
also
bullshit
bots.
is when you go to Target and Walmart and you go into the game section, and they have the audacity to have controllers and other bullshit there, but they're like, oh, we're not gonna have any systems. You gotta go get a
Yeah.
lottery on our website.
I mean, it's much easier to get a controller and manufacture controller than a games console,
But it's like no one could get one of these things, and you have their stupid controller sitting right there. It's almost like a slap in your face. Like,
And the
oh,
PS5 still outsold the PS4, regardless of like the amount of restrictions it's had in terms of stock. Stock. It still beat PS4 in terms of sales in its first, the launch window, which is crazy. But I think maybe it is a strategy. I don't know, but maybe that want and need of the scarcity of the PS5 and people just constantly trying to jump on to get it. I think it also kind of adds to the sales.
Yeah, I mean, it was like this with the PS4 and the PS3 before
and the
that.
Nintendo Wii, and I think the
Yeah.
Switch too.
I mean, it's been like this for the Nintendo is very bad at that. They've been.
I think
there's been
it's part of the
speculation that
brand.
you've been using that as a strategy for years to drive up demand as the kind of the fake scarcity or whatever. Them creating the scarcity themselves, I should say. So anyway, we can move on.
That's all I got.
Did you guys have trouble getting a Wii when they were out?
I never got a Wii.
Oh, really? Okay.
I just ended up getting a 360 because I was a poor high schooler.
I gotcha.
I think that I might have actually been the first person. Let me say.
I was number 4 in line at GameStop on Wii launch day. I was not going to be an idiot. And that was also like college, so it was like, I'm fine skipping class. Are you kidding me? Let's go wait at GameStop. So
I was in Guam when I bought my Wii, and I was the first in line on launch day. So technically, I think I was one of the first people in the world that bought the Wii on launch day, because Guam was
because of the time zones.
Because of the time zones.
Yeah.
And I remember I went back and I was taking the video just of the menu system because people wanted to see that wasn't even available back then.
Oh,
It was just
yeah.
videos of the menu system, and I was recording it, uploading it to YouTube on this shitty camera. It was terrible. It's still on my personal YouTube account.
On your N
But I remember I
gauge.
just posting it to like our Sagan nerd forums or some stupid shit back then.
I was I got a Wii, and those came out in November, and then most of my high school friends that we were still hanging out like once we were into college, like on breaks and stuff on Christmas and Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving break, Black Friday, I went out with my buddy just for shits and giggles to stand in line at 4 a.m. at Best Buy, and like we brought our DSs and we're like playing Tetris against people. People like did shifts to go make McDonald's runs and stuff like that. So it's I think stuff like that's really fun.
I agree with that.
But so that's a good time just being around that hype. And nobody knew, and eventually they came out and like handed out tickets and like half the line went away or whatever. But yeah, I will back up though with what you said, Chris. I don't think anybody had trouble getting a PlayStation 3 when they launched. That was the
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
But-
$600.
yeah, those things were nuts.
Waffle ironer with Spider-Man logo font.
Oh,
Oh God.
right. But
Well, wait, is the PlayStation 5, is it uglier than the PS3? The launch PS3?
the PS3 was just
better
a
than the PS3.
yeah. The PS3 is a George Foreman grill. The PS5 is a fucking spaceship time machine trapper keeper.
Yeah, it's just a big spaceship type thing, but I think it looks better than a waffle ironer.
Yeah.
It's still big. I think
I
it's
still think the
much bigger.
PS2 is their best design console.
The
I still can't
original or
believe
the
how
slim
thin that
version?
one is.
The original PS2.
Now,
Well, I mean, the PS2 Slim, it was just, I mean, it just made it slimmer, but I still think that's just such an
Considerably
iconic design.
slimmer.
here's an idea for another podcast episode. We could do like best looking consoles. Like we could do a freaking tier list of.
I
'cause
like it.
I miss when they
sure.
I miss when they were like the Dreamcast is more aerodynamic than it needs to be. That's all I'll say about that right now. So
Just get through
any-
that shit out the window.
yeah, exactly. Anything else, Marcin?
No. Why don't we
Alright.
see what's up with you, Scotty?
Sure. I got a decent amount of things to mention. We won't go too crazy but I'll do a follow up on Itchy Tasty. I almost said the Mortal Kombat book, the Resident Evil unofficial history of Resident Evil by Alex Aniel. Aniel. I'm not sure how to say his last name. I apologize. I finished it. And as I've said multiple times, I'm a slow reader. It's pretty big font though, and it's a pretty easy read because it's just like boom, 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 facts and factoids and things. I really enjoyed it. Rachel reads a lot, so whenever she's done with the book, I always say, "All right, what'd you give it?" Because she does her little app thing, and she's part of different groups, like 3 out of 5, whatever. I give this a solid 4 out of 5 stars. I would say.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think Chris, you should definitely pick this up because I know you'd enjoy this too. It is I mentioned to Marson the one fun fact, and Graham was on too, was about the voice acting. How the first game, the voice acting is only in English, and there is no Japanese voiceover. And the reason that the lines are so bad is because in Japan, everybody has sort of a basic grasp of the English language, or can speak like very basic lines and stuff, kind of like an unwritten rule to just know a little bit of English. So that's why there's lines like "Don't open that door," or "There's something wrong with this mansion." Like that's not what you would say. You would say like, "This place is messed up. We got to get out of here. Something's wrong." So the reason
they also overdub over the actors as well. Like, didn't they get different actors to voice those lines?
No, I think they were. I mean, it looks bad. The dubbing looks bad, but I believe that the people that played them were the voice actors as well. And they are interviewed in this book as well, and they say like, we were going in for a paycheck. We're told what to say, and we say it. Like, we didn't have creative, feedback or anything like that. What do we know about this game that nobody knows about? But so it's very interesting. So that's why those lines are like so basic and kind of bad, because it was never dubbed in any other language. So yeah, but that's pretty cool. The reason I don't give it a perfect score is some stuff in here is definitely like his opinion, despite the fact that he's going with facts throughout the thing. And whatever, it's your book, you can write whatever you want to.
Right.
Not really spoilers, but it only goes up to the DS release of the first Resident Evil game. I really wanted to hear what he had to say about 5 and 6 because they're so different, and 6 is arguably the worst Resident Evil game. But it's still very good. There's a whole chapter about Sega in here, like how their theories behind, or the reasoning behind what was released like on the Dreamcast and then on the GameCube, and then like they wanted to do different things and different ports here and there. Overall, I will say if you're a fan of Sega overall, you'll hear about a lot of people that you didn't realize were involved with Sega while they were, or before when they were at Capcom and whatever. That is a roundabout way of saying people in platinum. But the biggest takeaway from it, yeah, so that's the reason I gave it not a perfect score, because I really wanted to hear like about the worst Resident Evil games, essentially, arguably. And I did, after reading this, I understand more so why I really like the Resident Evil games I like, and why I wasn't a huge fan of the ones that I'm not, of the old school titles. But it's very good. It's very interesting, very easy read. And I have no idea.
For the sequel, itchier, tastier.
Here's hoping. But the other, like,
yummy.
The big thing I want to promote about this is like the author. He speaks Japanese, so these interviews that he did with like the Japanese devs and stuff, that was him. That wasn't like through a translator. Wasn't like through different means and different channels. Like, so that's why it's really easy to read, because it is him talking to them and stuff. So, yeah, I finished that and it was really good.
How much was it, by the way? I
have no idea. I did.
What's the author's name again?
Alex Aniel. He's also the head of the Japanese division for limited run games now. But it is this copy, because it has my name in it and it was through Unbounded, was $50. So take that with a grain of salt, because it was like the super supporter whatever way to go, like the hardback and digital. It's on ebooks too. It's on the ebooks. You can get an ebook version.
I'll do that. I can't be a super supporter for everyone.
Yeah, no, it's pretty solid though. I really liked it. Definitely recommend it to any fan of like survival horror, and even if you're not a fan of Resident Evil, but like scary video games and kind of history related stuff, to honestly Capcom. Like, it's
It would be awesome if they got one of the original voice actors to narrate the audiobook, but they did it really badly.
I would
Oh
love that.
yeah.
I would love
Let's
that.
change the whole language. On Amazon, it says it doesn't come out until July 21st, the hardcover version for $25.
That's
Is it
not too
because
bad
it
a
has?
price.
Does it mean they just released it to Kickstarter supporters ahead of time? I guess.
Probably. It wasn't a Kickstarter. It's for I guess the equivalent to Kickstarter, but it's called Unbound, like Unbounded.
Unbound. Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so it might not
Interesting.
be
I was
out
about to
physically
order
to
it.
the public yet. I'm not 100% sure. Sorry, I don't know more about it than that. But it's good. And I'll super briefly mention, Rachel and I started playing the game Observation. Have you guys heard of that at all? Or chat sound off if you have. It's a Devolver Digital joint. Observation, the reason we started it was Rachel was reading stuff online and someone said, this is like Night Trap meets Alien. And so we're like, what? Yeah, we'll do that. It's not like Night Trap. The only reason they say that is you are the AI on a space station, so your view is entirely through security cameras and these little sentry orbs that float around. But I really can't say much because there's spoilers like within the first hour of gameplay. It's very creepy and foreboding, and actually I have a real strong sense of Europa Report, if anybody has seen that movie. Pretty good sci-fi flick. I think that's what it's called. I kind of that's a movie that I watched when I watched like Moon and other stuff. That's about a space team that goes to one of Jupiter's moon of Jupiter's moons. Observation. Observation. California. Yeah.
Oh, dude, have you seen the Kickstarter for that game called Ghosts?
Yeah.
I don't know what to think
It's
about
that FMV.
Yeah, I thought that might be something that you'd be into if you.
It looks a little too self-aware, and I think everything froze for a second. And I am talking now. Everybody's back. Okay, great. Sorry, Twitch.
Yeah,
I don't know what's happening with my internet. Of course, it's going haywire today. No, I was saying that game Ghosts looks a little too self-aware for an FMV game.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. I'm not saying it's bad because I haven't played it, but yeah, I don't know.
I'll let you know. I kickstarted. I backed it.
Oh,
so
cool.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Also, as a quick aside, the Itchy Tasty book, it looks like it is available as of April 15th in bookstores. So maybe Amazon is just getting it later, but it looks like even like Barnes and Noble and all that actually have it now from the looks of it.
Okay.
I love those kinds of books where it gives me just more insight into how the industry functions and like the cool stories, surrounding games that I did enjoy, like Resident Evil. So
Yeah.
I definitely want to grab it for sure.
It's written well too. Like it grammatically and everything, it's written well. It's not the most profound writing because I did find myself in a couple of spots like he was using the same word a couple of times, but at the same time, it's like you're basically narrating a timeline. So you're gonna find so many ways to just say after this happened,
Right. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah. No, so it's pretty solid. Yeah, honestly, that'd be cool if you picked it up, Marson, or if like a couple of us picked it up, we could kind of have our own little book club or something. That'd be fun.
Book club
Book club.
podcast.
Megavision.
Book Club.
Yeah, Megavision's library lounge. I don't know.
I already read Console Wars, so we can do that if
Oh,
anyone else has.
Jesus Christ.
to
We
talk
could have
about
a
it.
series discussing that. And I'll just mention, too, a couple other things real quick. For Alien Day, LV426, April 26th is
Hell yeah.
Alien Xenomorph Day, whatever. Corey and I played Alien Trilogy. I asked him to play it because I've played that game so much, it'd be nothing new for me. He was loving it. And we have a great clip from that I'm not going to try to play right now because we've had technical difficulties already, and I'm so scared.
Gonna explode everything.
Yeah, so, but if anyone, honestly, TJ or Happy Dude, if you want to throw that clip in the chat right now, be our guest there. But it's just a creepy corridor. I was very happy at his reaction of the soundtrack, because that really does make that game, because a lot of it is just like, pew, 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 da, da, like nothing happening. Yeah, Alien Trilogy on Saturn and PS1 is pretty solid. Have either you guys played it at all? Like
I
forever?
remember playing that back in the day. I loved it.
Okay.
It was really good.
It's
The only
a fun...
Alien game I've played was I think I played 2. Which one was the multiplayer one where like you play as the alien? Was that Colonial Marines, or is there a different multiplayer game?
I think you could play. I think you could switch as between the Marines and the Alien in Colonial Marines in the multiplayer.
Short answer is yes, because Colonial Marines did have a mode that was essentially like Left 4 Dead, because you would have 4 Marines and then 4 Xenomorphs as like the different specials. But
That's what they had at PAX East. Wasn't that their demo at PAX East?
I think that was just a deathmatch thing. I don't think it was an actual campaign. Yeah.
The one I really played though was Alien Isolation, and I love that game for sure. And it shit my pants. If I play like surround sound or whatever, and that thing is like walking around, like
I want to try it in VR. I think that would be
hell no.
No, thank you.
VR, like headphones plugged in.
Oh
I know.
my God,
I would not.
You have
to tried playing Resident Evil 7 like that. Hell no.
You should Chris, you've got enough children around you that you should give each one of them a spray bottle, and like they watch, and then when the Xeno like spits at you or something, they spray you and you're like
yeah, 4D.
Yeah. Yeah, 4D.
But they just do like a bucket of water.
Why does that water smell like this?
This isn't water. Why is it solidifying? That's not water. Yeah. I completely lost my train of thought now. Thank you for posting that clip though, there, guys, in the Twitch chat.
Alien games.
Yeah, boy, tell you what. Oh no, some people were saying like, oh, why weren't you playing Isolation? And I was just brutally honest. I was like, we would not get to any. You can't play Isolation in 2 hours and expect to show anyone anything on stream in like the beginning of that game, because it's very slow going. Very good game, but very slow going.
Atmospheric for sure.
Yeah. And then 2 quick pickups. Left one of them downstairs, of course, which was Scott Pilgrim versus the World. The game, complete edition, has shipped on Switch. That's downstairs. But more importantly, speaking of Kickstarter and stuff, The Curse of Ilmore Bay is out, guys, on the Genesis. I'm holding up the hard case, and it does have a cartridge and a manual. The manual's actually pretty cool, too, because it is in full color. And there's the baddies and stuff. There's your notes section, I guess. I don't know. But I have not played it yet. I want to stream this. It's a side-scrolling 2-player, basically like, oh crap, stuff's happening on Halloween. We got to save the day in our neighborhood full of children possessed by demons or something. I could be making most of that up, but I don't know.
I think I kickstarted that too.
Jack-o'-lanterns?
Maybe. It says on the back here, the curse is real. Once upon a time, in a land far away, stood a cursed little town called Ilmore Bay.
I'm
Halloween Town.
This in Fresh Prince's rap voice. Like, try to rap it.
Oh, okay.
Like Fresh Prince.
Once upon a time, in a land far away, stood a cursed little town called Ilmore Bay. Monsters have taken better than and send it home back to Auntie and something Phil. Rap sucks. Isn't that in there somewhere? Yeah. It's I haven't tried it yet, but I want to stream it, so it should be a good time. And I think that's me. Let me just check my notes here. And they say, Scotty, shut up. You've definitely taken too long. So, how do you guys feel? Do you want a bathroom break, or you think you're good to go into the mail sack?
Let's get into the mail sack.
Yeah, I think I'm all right with that, too. So let's go ahead and flawlessly...
Your mail sack before we empty...
Oh, no.
What? Okay, yeah. This will totally work, and transition time now. Here it is, where you ask us stuff and we answer it, hooray! Yep, that worked, I bet, because I forgot to get ready on my own side, because it's time for the mail sack! Okay, there are too many things for me to do right now. Let me bring the document back up. This is great for the audio listeners.
Scotty's going to be one of those like one-man bands that has like a little tambourine on his head. And
yep, yeah. Yeah, if you guys want to fire off any questions in the Twitch right now, you can. In our Discord, though, we have Nicholas Schaefer asks, or states and then asks, Nintendo finally came out with online play for their couch co-op game Super Mario Party. Did Nintendo miss the boat on having another hit during pandemic lockdown, or do you think there is a demand? I want to preface this with, I did not know that it did not have online play, and I also thought, like, have any of the Mario Party games had online play? So anyone else can take the floor.
I have the game. I did know that they did not have online play, so it was a pleasant surprise. But again, yeah, I did buy it like, I don't know, a year ago or whenever it was. Yeah, it's nice to add onto it, but I do think that they missed the boat with that because I feel like a lot of people have moved on from it. Like, wait, there's an online mode, you know? And I feel like that's a big thing to just really just launch. Was there any kind of like build up to it at all, or was it just like a surprise release? I honestly don't know, but in any event, I think it's good because I think it adds another layer to Mario Party. Like, it's fun when you have people, in your living room playing with you, but I think it also adds another layer when you're playing online with people and you're by yourself. But yeah, I think that they totally missed the boat on that because other people are, I don't know, wanting to play Pokemon Snap, which comes out on Friday, or any of the other games they have. So it's nice, but hey, you might have wanted to release it when the game actually
compared to like other Mario Party games? Is it more of the same stuff?
Yeah, I mean the concept is the same. You have your board, you collect your stars. Whoever you have the highest mini games gets a star, highest coins gets a star. All that stuff is similar. I mean they have
game of skill.
They have I feel like their boards, the boards themselves feel shorter and a little less intricate in my opinion. I felt like Mario Party 2 and 3 had like longer boards, and I thought they just were cooler concepts. I feel like these weren't as great in my opinion.
I feel like Nintendo needs to completely rehaul the whole Mario Party premise, because I think that if you look at other games out there, they're kind of outdoing Nintendo at the whole kind of Mario Party gimmick and stuff. Like, what is the one game where everyone's running around and trying to get to the goal, and there's like 50 people and they're these little like minion looking creatures?
Fall Guys?
Fall Guys. Like, there's so many games like that. And I got an email from a press release from some company today that they're doing another game kind of like that, but kind of like Fall Guys, but it's more like trivia based. So there's like trivia stuff, you have to go to the next round and things like that. But it's all
cool,
kind of like that. But I feel like there's a bunch of cool games like that are really hitting big and striking a chord with the large group of the gaming community. But yet I feel like Nintendo with Mario Party, they're not really evolving. And I think there's other companies and games out there that are doing kind of that similar thing, and they're doing it online and doing it better than Nintendo. So I think Nintendo has some definitely some work to do to get up there.
Well, I feel like they have tried to reinvent themselves with different iterations of it. I know, like in Mario Party 6 or something, they had like a microphone or some shit, and like they were adding gimmicky stuff to it. Right. But yeah, I think they just have to maybe rethink the Mario Party game as a whole, because the whole series revolves around the board, right? So I don't know. Do you get rid of the board? Like, what do you do? Does it turn into like if you get rid of that core concept, then what do you have in Mario Party?
Mini games.
If that's your exactly, which they also do, where you can just play the mini games. But I think I personally enjoy that board game aspect of it. But
they always. Yeah. I think to answer or to respond to your comment, Chris, on how they need to evolve, I think they're in their heads, they're like, oh, we are evolving because we used a microphone, then we used motion controls. For the Switch, you can set it down on the table and you have to like play Chinese checkers or whatever it is, or backgammon, I forget. So that's probably, they do. I don't know that they need to. You know what? Yeah, it would make sense, and yes, they do need online play because of how portable the Switch is, that you would have not just ad hoc or LAN or whatever nearby stuff. You do need online stuff with that. But at the same time, though, they should kick it up a notch to not just like 4. Is it still only 4 players max?
Yeah,
'Cause
Yes.
that doesn't make any sense because like Mario Kart has what, up to 8 racers or 16 or
unless
something.
the online version has more, I honestly don't know. But I mean, like, yeah, Mario Party, I mean, just gives to online capabilities. Like,
Yeah.
like it's basically built to make it, so you can play it online essentially. Like, it's pretty easy.
Has there
Um,
has there
yeah.
been a mode where you can, like, if the three of us and Graham were playing, could we have like Marson, you and I be an actual designated team, and then Chris and Graham be a team? Do they have anything like that in there by now?
I don't know necessarily with that because I mean, I feel like I've played all the mini games in there. I think they might have had a team mode, but like generally, like if you've played Mario Party, the only way you're designated as a team is if your color changes to, like, if someone lands on red and then someone lands on green, which is like a mystery color or whatever.
Yeah.
The only way you're on a team is if that green turns into a red and then it turns into a two versus two.
In the mini
But
games, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah. Tornado Jones in the chat there, Mr. Corey himself says, yes, they have online 2v2. So, hey, they're a step ahead of me in my brain, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, I was gonna give it a try. I just didn't get around to playing the online version of Super Mario Party because
Yeah.
it just came out. But
that's weird.
I'll give it a twirl.
That is a strange... I mean, if anybody other than Nintendo was doing this, and if it was like any other AAA game, people would be like, oh, this day one patch bullshit. Why wasn't... It's an incomplete game that launched. What? Give me my money back, you know? But it's
Yep.
Nintendo, and nobody cares about Mario Party's online stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. Nintendo. And then Mr. Haru asks, or I'll just read it. He says, stealing this one from someone who asked, Scrubverse, how much representation to you is too much representation to the point of destroying said franchise? For instance, Fire Emblem with Smash Brothers, Persona 5 collaborating with everything to the sun / being the, quote, cash cow for Atlas, or even the fan base for said games like Sonic.
See, I thought that question was gonna take like a different turn about representation, but in terms of, I mean, I guess what they're referring to is like, cameos and characters appearing in other video games. Like Super Smash Brothers basically has like a big chunk of them like aren't Nintendo characters. They're originally like Cloud and Ryu, and I think Ken's in there, and like you have all these people jumping in. And then Mortal Kombat, like people say it's like Super Smash Bros. For middle-aged dudes because they have like Terminator and Xenomorph and classic horror guy people. But I don't know, like for me, like as a Mortal Kombat player, I initially did not like the idea of like all these third-party characters coming in the roster because it felt a little tainted. Normally it would just be like its own contained universe with characters and a backstory, but then you're like introducing like Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator, a Xenomorph pops in, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and I don't know.
That's what that game
feels
is
tacked
just
on.
become, though. Like that's kind of what that is.
Yeah, I mean, now I'll tell you, I don't really mind, but before I felt like it just felt tacked on. I liked like the characters in that particular realm, but I don't mind it anymore. I guess it's cool to be, the Terminator against Raiden, or
I think he means like having one particular franchise like in everything versus like one game having more, like a bunch of franchises in one. Like, do you feel like it's too much when certain franchises just are in too many games? Like he's saying, like Persona 5 is like in everything, and he feels like
no, they're in
it's
Smash Bros.
basically there's like just kind of milking it for what they can to get as much money out of it.
I mean, I don't mind that at all. Like, I mean, if you want to get exposure, I guess for to put, like, I would like Kiryu from Yakuza in Tekken, and I feel like people have been talking about that for a while. I'd like to see that personally. When Shenmue 3 didn't come out for the longest time, I was looking forward to seeing him in a game just because it would be some kind of feeling of playing him, in a video game after like 15 years, and they did that with Sega All-Stars. But I mean, that was the concept of the game.
I'll say this as a longtime Berserk fan. we need some more fucking Berserk representation.
More guts.
And more guts in our games.
Games need more guts.
There you go. More guts in games, baby.
That's why I feel like guts can fit in Mortal Kombat, I think.
Hell yeah.
But I don't know if it's like that style would work with Mortal Kombat as a character, though, because everyone it's like a realistic looking style. I don't think Berserk is that kind of, style.
I don't know. I just I think it doesn't bother me personally because I don't have to buy it. I can ignore it if I want to.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't bother me at all. I think it's just the nature of the business. It's going to continue to evolve. Like, these companies are going to be finding ways that any way that they can make money, they're going to be finding ways. Like, we just read a story this week how Sega is now getting into this stupid thing called NFTs, where it's the most mind-boggling, dumb idea ever, where it's basically companies can sell you a virtual video or something that technically that you can own but anyone else can have, but you pay for the idea of owning this said virtual thing. Well, Sega's going to start doing that, and there's lots of other game companies that are going to be doing it. So I just think, it's just a matter of it's just the business, and so it's one of those things that you got to deal with.
So I think what he's referring to also, my relation to this is Smash Brothers used to be my favorite Nintendo series, but I also used to always have roommates that were also gamers and stuff, so Smash Brothers was a requirement in the house, basically. And for the last one, on the Wii U, was the last one I played with any... No, the Switch one. Yeah, in the last place I lived, we played that a good bit, but... I love Smash Brothers because of the goofiness in it. Like, Duck Hunt Dog and the Duck are a character. Like, there's a piranha plant. Things that are not supposed to be really in any way, shape, or form defending themselves on their own in a fighting atmosphere. But then there are like 12 Fire Emblem characters in there now. I've never recognized a single one. It is cool how like Smash Brothers is basically the reason there are now Fire Emblem games in the States or outside of Japan, basically. But every time there was a new Fire Emblem character, my roommates and friends at the time, they'd pick that character because they were broken as hell. So it's like, cool, this game isn't fun anymore for me because you're going to pick the unbalanced sword dodging bitch-ass thing that I cannot fight against and cannot counter. And so the Fire Emblem character... So every time there was another Fire Emblem character, I'm like, oh my god, it's just another different colored anime bimbo that has a sword and a shield that I don't care about because I don't care about JRPGs anyway, or tactics RPGs. So like, yeah, Fire Emblem kind of ruined Smash. It didn't ruin Smash Brothers for me, but it's like, why are you still bringing out these characters?
I think they just
got to
cut back on the amount of Fire Emblem characters they have in there for sure. Because I feel like a lot of them fight similarly and have similar styles. I feel like if you only have limited space, you could probably put in a character that people will enjoy, and it kind of diversifies the roster instead of basically having similar, fight mechanics. So.
Yeah, the roster got less and less diversified the more sword wielding bitches they put in there. Like I
like Cloud.
well, he was super broken at first too, and that was not even fun. So when people pick sword-based characters, I'm going to pick Mr. Game & Watch because he's my best trolling character that I got. And it's just dumb as hell. My goal is never to win anymore. So I think that's kind of what he means also. But Persona just is everything everywhere. They have their own games and their own stuff and whatever. But it really depends. I guess I think what we're all saying, though, is it doesn't really ever ruin a game for us. For me, I don't even own Smash Brothers on the Switch, so I think my time has come and gone with that game. Because I'm not going to play that online. Sheesh. But I don't know. Sonic's in there. That's cool.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't think it breaks anything for us, but we might be a lot more patient than the average gamer, dude. That's, unless I saw anything... No, nothing there in the chat, so... I think that's going to do it for the listener question. I mean, the mail sack. I don't care what it's called. So how you guys feeling? You want a break? You want to jump into this.
I need to refill my water more than
Okay.
anything.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
we
go
can.
empty my sack.
Fantastic. So, guys, we'll be back in a couple of minutes to talk about the Mortal Kombat movie, the latest one. We're going to go spoiler-free, and then we'll let you know with visual cues and timestamps and stuff for the audio version when we're going to go into spoilers. But we will be back in a moment. Okay. Oh, yeah, buddy. We're back. Hello. Everybody liquefied and drained and couldn't have said it any grosser way. Yeah, so what we're going to talk about now is that crazy thing that's all on the interwebs. I will admit, Mortal Kombat 2021 movie, I had to, start... I wanted to be prepared for this, so after watching it, I watched some other people's reviews, but then it got to the point between my different circles and everything online, I had to, go out of my way to find videos other than people's reviews of this movie, just because of my circles and stuff. So let me take a look here, and we'll get some... so like I mentioned before the break, if anybody's tuning in live right now while we're on Twitch, we're going to start out spoiler-free, and then we'll give you plenty of heads up when we're going to do spoiler discussion. We might, the first couple of minutes of the movie, we might just talk about stuff like, oh, who dies, who shows up in the first 10 minutes or something, because, sorry, honestly, you probably saw it in the trailer anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, so Mortal Kombat released on HBO Max and also in theaters, physical theaters in the year of our Lord and Savior pandemic. New Line Cinema came out April 23rd, 2021. The budget was $55 million. And the box office opening weekend in the USA, $23.3 million, and then the gross USA, that was the gross USA, cumulative worldwide, $51 million. This broke records for was it that it broke records for the pandemic, or just broke movie records? I think
it was for pandemic. It was the highest rated or grossing movie since the pandemic started for, box office numbers, so...
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy that 51 million worldwide is like a good number.
Yeah.
Right now. So nuts.
Yeah, especially post MCU, post Marvel universe and everything too.
Yeah. Avengers made like $1 billion in its first week or something.
Money that no human being should have. But the last movie to hold that was the Godzilla versus Kong that came out a couple weeks ago. Forgot the date of that one, but
beforehand,
which I need to watch before it is taken off HBO Max on Friday, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess we can talk. Do you guys want to talk about the cast now or as we go? What do you think? Mention some of the. How do you want to approach this? I don't want to treat it like a sideshow and just boom, 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 go through the beats and we could I didn't recognize anyone in this. Wow, let me try that sentence again. I did not know any of the actors or actresses in this.
Yeah.
But I think, Chris, you were saying in an offside chat that, or one of you guys was saying, I think the main character is a better actor than basically what they gave him lines for, or something like that. Has he been in other stuff? Louis Tan?
Louis Tan is... what I said was Louis Tan is probably the biggest gamer or fan of the series, and the person who kind of invested himself into learning the lore more than anyone else. So it kind of felt like they did him dirty when they gave him Cole Young, basically.
Yeah.
But I think you're gonna be Mortal Kombat, but you're gonna be Cole Young. It's this brand new cool character. You're gonna love it. All the kids are gonna love you. It's gonna be great.
The everyman.
I feel like a big chunk of the actors and actresses in the movie are largely unknown. I think if you're a fan of martial arts movies, you might know Joe Taslim, who did Subzero, and of course Hiroyuki Sanada as well, who did Scorpion.
Josh Lawson.
I've seen him.
What? Uh-oh, everything's frozen again. Yay, Scott's internet. Okay, go for it again, Chris.
I said Chin Han, who played Shang Tsung. I've seen him in stuff before as well.
Okay.
Don't know exactly. Nathan Jones. Also, he's been in a bunch of stuff. He used to be in WWE back in the day. He was in.
He was.
Yeah, he was.
Does that have to do with the hammer?
For a while.
Was he the guy with the hammer?
Okay. He was killed by Achilles in that one movie.
Clash of the Titans?
No. God damn it. Hector!
I don't know.
It has Achilles. God damn it. With the fucking... The horse, the giant horse. They go into the walls.
Troy.
Troy. There we go.
I was close.
Troy. He basically always plays like a big, bulky guy that if they don't want to pay big bucks to like people like Batista or something like that, they'll bring in like Nathan Jones, where he looks good, but he doesn't really got big name recognition.
Oh, the guy who played Reiko. Ooh, I did not like his performance. It was way too hammy for me. Like it felt like a WWE performance from him with his hammer and his facial expressions. I was like, hey,
he is very much like that.
So Josh Lawson played Kano, who in my opinion was the best part of this movie. He is the pharmacist in Superstore. Rachel told me that, and that blew my mind. If anyone's seen Superstore, the arrogant pharmacist in Superstore is a store about basically a show about basically Sam's Club, like a sitcom in Sam's Club. He's the obnoxious pharmacist, and that is amazing that he's in this movie because those are so different things, so very different.
So you didn't notice him initially when you saw?
Oh no, not at all. Because I'm used to seeing him in like a lab coat and whatever, and a lot of this movie is very dark. So I think his introduction, I didn't catch who he was, and I was too busy laughing at everything else after that. But so I think we're safe to just talk about it now. What do you got? All right.
Wait, we're not doing spoilers yet, right?
No, not at all. We haven't really talked about the movie at all yet.
Like stuff we liked and stuff we didn't like.
We can do that. I thought that what we could do is give our one phrase opinion now, and then maybe at the end of the discussion give our one phrase opinion on what we thought, and see if it changes at all. That could be a neat idea. Or honestly, we could just go into what we did enjoy about it, and then maybe what we didn't, and then just straight up go into spoilers.
Sure.
All right. I thought I will say that boom, this thing kicks right off, and I appreciate that like 3 minutes in there's blood. Like it wasted no time. And I think it sets it up pretty high. I did like it overall, and I mentioned that I think Kano was my favorite character. Well, not maybe, he definitely was in terms of the whole film. And I think that compared to like the 91 movie, I should preface this with I have played no Mortal Kombat games all the way through. I've barely dabbled in them overall. It's not that I was a Street Fighter guy, it's just that I've never really gotten into fighters at all. Kind of prefaced this the last time we talked about Mortal Kombat stuff and everything. That being said, I do enjoy the first Mortal Kombat movie. That's a good time. That was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who went on to do the Resident Evil movies, which is funny because I think you said, Marcin, that the writer for this film, was that right? Russo?
One of the writers.
One of the writers is doing something with Resident Evil now, right?
One of the writers is doing an upcoming movie of Resident Evil. It looks like it's coming out in August 2021. It's called Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City.
I think that's the reboot of the live-action films.
Well, keep in mind there were 5 writers for this, so it doesn't
cool.
mean the raccoon thing will be bad.
So,
but yeah,
this movie overall, to give a synopsis, I guess, there's supposed to be a tournament, and that's between the Outworld, which is bad, and Earthrealm, which is us, and we gotta win, or the Outworld will take over the planet, and if we do win, they don't take over the planet. That's it. We don't get anything else.
We basically start at the same point as where we start with the original Mortal Kombat movie. It was like basically they lost 9 in a row. They couldn't lose the next one, and we're kind of in the same starting point.
Oh, was it also 9 in a row in the original 90s?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's 9 in a row, and then when you have the 10th Mortal Kombat, then they are allowed to invade your realm, which in this case is
Or just do it anyway.
Yeah,
right. Which is what happens in the games where they just break the rules and they invade Earthrealm anyway. Exactly.
Yeah, it's sort of confusing to lay down all this stuff to just kind of push it aside to have these fucking badass battles. That's pretty much the plot, and Cole is in it. He's for anyone that has not seen it, Cole is not a Mortal Kombat character. He was created for this movie as the everyman, and in my opinion, kind of like the star of every sitcom, like How I Met Your Mother, or the Goldbergs, like the main character is the most boring character because I think they want him to be the blank slate so that you can sit in there like Link, who has no spoken words in video games. You know what I mean?
Well, they use them. It's almost as a narrative device because you are him as the viewer, being introduced to all these characters, and as he's being introduced to the story, you are as well as the viewer. So it's been done 1,000 times.
Except I think Kano did a better job of doing that because I think he was the one kind of just pointing shit out during the whole movie anyway, and just making commentary on it, which honestly I think a lot of people say is what made the movie was his dialogue. I mean, and just him as a character in general. I think he was the one that stood out the most because yeah. I don't know, Scotty, if you had more thoughts on the Matar.
No, 100%. He carried this movie on his back, in my opinion. Because no one else really had like personality exactly that wasn't like, I am a warrior, so I cannot tell jokes, like kind of that whole shtick.
It very much seemed though that like, I don't know how the direction was for this character, but if you go back and watch the original Mortal Kombat, because I did this week as well, he plays it very, very close to how that original actor did as well. They scaled back on some of the whole just toxicity, because the shit that he was said in the original one, it was really bad. Like I was laughing. I was like, God damn, man, they got away with that back then. Like, okay, all right, but
which character in the original are you referring to?
He's talking about Kano.
I'm talking about Kano.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
Well, because you're talking about him, so
I was talking about Cole, so I was confused. Yeah.
Oh, my bad. But no, it was Marcin that was just talking about Kano. He was saying he carried the movie.
Yeah.
I was saying, to continue on that thought, he played it very close to what the original actor did. So I was just kind of interested in if maybe that was kind of a from the director's standpoint or how they wanted him to be portrayed. But I agree, he was fucking awesome in this movie.
I think. Yeah. I mean, the idea of Kano having an Australian accent was also kind of a new idea because I mean, in the games he didn't really have that, and yeah. So when they did it in the movies, they basically just made the rest of the Kanos speak in an Australian accent.
Well, the director is Australian, and they filmed a lot of the movie in Australia too.
Yeah. Did you guys watch any of the bonus stuff on HBO Max?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, because if you watch that, like all the actors and everybody has a New Zealand accent and stuff. Has definitely like clearly they were locals to where this was filmed, I think. But which is interesting, but also something fun to point out. I'm so bad with names. What's the guy's name who played Subzero? Joe Taslim. Yeah. Apparently he, and you might remember this if you watch the behind the scenes stuff, Chris. The director had to tell him to slow down in his martial arts moves because he was moving too fast for the camera. The only other, at least that I know of, the only other time that was mentioned, and they mentioned this in the behind-the-scenes stuff, was Bruce Lee when he's being filmed. Like, he was moving too fast for the camera. So I thought that was pretty cool, and he's a prolific martial artist as well. Joe Taslim, I guess. He's like a 15-year member of some sort of clan or something. I forget. I'm sorry. But I just thought that was really cool. I'm like, holy shit.
What's the clan that Sub-Zero's from?
The Lin Kuei.
Yeah, that one. That's it.
He has a membership to Lin Kuei with his Costco card.
So I think this movie kicked off really well and strong because it starts off with an awesome fight scene in the past in like feudal Japan or something. And I gotta say, you go into this, you're not going to take it too seriously because Mortal Kombat doesn't take itself too seriously. So they got to know how to. I think they did a decent job of juggling that. But I got to say, the beginning of the movie, where if you've watched any trailers, you know what's going to happen in this scene. But the dad, he goes away to fill up buckets of water for something, and then shit goes down at the family house, and he hears screaming, and you know that it's Sub-Zero, and then the buckets that he was tending to, he drops them and they like slowly splash everywhere. So I'm like, oh, that's gonna like turn into ice and rise up. You never see those buckets again. Nothing happens with those. Like only those buckets are in slow motion for the first 10 minutes of the movie, and I was like, what's happening?
One like plot hole or issue that you have.
And I just thought it was like a lost opportunity. Like even when he goes back to Subzero, I thought that like, oh, he's sitting near the buckets. That's gonna be what kills something, but it cracked
That'd be funny if later on, like he gets up to walk and Sub-Zero had frozen the water. He's like, "Bleh!"
Good old banana peel.
Yeah.
I don't know who said this, but someone made a comment saying like, "Oh, Sub-Zero's like the worst assassin ever because you'll know he's around because everything just turns cold and frozen. It's like the middle of July and it starts snowing. Like, oh, he's coming.
Wait till the winter, motherfucker. He'll get you.
Yeah, that's when
Yeah,
you least
exactly.
expect it. Yeah.
Don't sleep during the winter.
But so like, yeah, it very much was the first movie again because this dude has to find, not even recruit, but just like find these people to fight in this thing to save the planet, so to speak. I thought that just about all the character introductions were pretty solid. And I guess we can't really get into everybody that was in it yet for fear of spoilers. I don't know how to take spoilers anymore with anything on the internet. There were more fights in this than the first movie, like more like solid, like choreographed, fun fights. I felt like
Definitely more gory fatalities for sure.
holy crap, yeah. I said it before even seeing this that this movie was not like the 90s were not ready for what this movie needed to be in terms of the fatalities and not even the martial arts because you can choreograph fights. I mean, we all love Ninja Turtles and those fights are barely anything, but like. Yeah, the special effects for all the supernatural crap that needed to happen in this. Yeah. So let's just go over our impressions without going into spoilers yet, and then we can go full hog. So Marcin, Marcin I know is a massive fan. Chris, are you a giant fan of Mortal Kombat? Because I feel like Marcin's gonna have the most to say. So do you want to get your part in first, or?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a massive fan of Mortal Kombat. I am a fan of it. I'm certainly a fan of the movies, but I love the games, but I haven't been an avid player of the games in a number of years. I don't even know. I mean, I played one of the more recent Mortal Kombat games, but I couldn't tell you which one it was. But I think I had two minds into this movie. When I watched it the first time, I loved it. I came out of it and I was like, that was super entertaining. And then I sat and thought about it for a couple days. And then I watched it again. But I think if you take it as just a pure action movie, I think it's a really good movie. Even as I think it's really a superhero movie. In a lot of ways. I think if you look at it as a superhero movie, I think it definitely makes the movie a lot more palatable. I should say, if you look at it through that lens. But if you look at it as a Mortal Kombat fan, I can certainly understand why people are upset by it. Like I think Cole was absolutely just an unnecessary character, or I guess that would be spoiler, so I don't want to say that. But I think he was a very unnecessary character. But overall, the things that I did like, I did think the fight choreography, like what you were talking about, Scotty. I think the fight choreography was really well done. I think looking at the fights between this movie and the original one, it's hands down night and day different. Because they're dealing with a lot of actors who are also, martial arts experts and things like that. Whereas in some of the original cast, they didn't have as many martial arts actors. I say that, and I'm talking out of my ass. I could be totally wrong there, but I don't think so. Because I watched it, and the fight choreography, some of them was pretty bad there. But yeah, I thought some of the fight scenes were really, really good. Even what's cool is Cole's first fight was that MMA fight.
Right.
What I liked about that is they didn't portray that like you see MMA fights in a lot of other movies where they're all just like Superman punches and all these just like stupid, flat, stupid things. If you look at it, it actually went down a lot like MMA fight goes, and it looked like he was winning, and he made a mistake and he got countered and rolled up and put in a crucifix and got tapped out. And a lot of times stuff like that happens in MMA. And I thought they treated that just like an MMA fight. And I thought that was really cool. And I thought they did a really good job with just the fight choreography. And for me, going into a Mortal Kombat movie, certainly that's one of the main things I'm looking for is how's the fights and things like that.
Okay.
I thought Kano was awesome, but for me, Cabal was I thought he kind of stole the show for me personally. Like I thought he was like a way cooler Mandalorian. I'm sure a lot of people are making that connection, but I was just like, man, he looks like a dude I would love to hang out with and just grab a beer with, or I would love that dude as like a main character in a video game and just play him and just have those like witty one-liners and shit like that he has. Or maybe have Cabal and Kano, just those two together, just going on like a
buddy cop movie.
Yeah, man, that would be amazing. I thought those, like you guys said, they stole the show.
I could entirely see them doing like down the road, like, oh, spin-off just Cabal and Kano before all of this happened. Like, why does Cabal hate Kano? What happened between them?
Yeah,
you know,
I think there's some good stuff there. There's certainly some like a lot of underlying stuff that could be told between them. They reference that in in the movies and stuff like that. So overall, it's weird. I guess I'll save my overall stuff when we get to the spoiler stuff, but that's kind of my overall thought.
I want to tap on the UFC Octagon talk stuff, because before that, in the locker room, when Cole's hanging out there with a lady on a bench next to him or across from him, and then a younger lady over dealing with the duffel bag or whatever, I thought, and then the ref comes in or whoever, he's like, all right, who's in your corner tonight? He looks over at her. I'm like, oh, okay, his little sister. So this must be his other sister. And then they kiss. I'm like, oh, they're not, I don't think they're siblings.
They're still siblings.
Yeah. It's like, what the hell? It just didn't, they did not look like, I don't know. Did anyone else get that vibe? Like, they didn't look like a couple.
It felt very
shoehorned in.
Yes. Yeah. It was just, that whole family, plot line is
it just felt kind of forced and overdone. I think. I think it was very
and the last thing I'll say, and then we can hop into your impressions there, Marcin, is when you mentioned how comparable it is to an actual UFC fight, and that's cool. I don't watch that stuff at all, but I kind of felt like that too. Like, they didn't want that to be, they weren't going to start doing like roundhouse kicks or something to each other, because it was nice that was in there to show, because we just had that ninjutsu fight, and then we have this kind of fight, but when he's down under the crucifix move and whatever, and his Jesus Christ, his daughter says, use the uppercut. I'm like, okay, well, that was your one line, I guess. Cool. And it didn't make sense. It didn't fit then, and it doesn't fit later. But we'll get there, in my opinion, anyway.
He sucks because at least they set the stage early that he sucks, because he gets his ass kicked in every fight, and
I don't think that's what they consciously wanted. What you mean, like in terms of fighting?
He sucks. He gets his ass kicked in every fight.
Well,
that is a problem. But that is exactly, I think, a problem that I have with that character when he does things later in the movie. But
and one of these writers, I guarantee they're fucking writing for WWE right now. We got some 50-50 booking in this movie, and it sucks.
Well,
all right, you go out, go.
Fucking Vince is rewriting the fucking script before they shoot.
I think they that was their attempt at character development, but also he had a past of being a better fighter, because the ref no. When Jax comes in, he makes a comment about Cole controlling the ring, even though he gave in the fight or something like that, right? So it shows that he has experience. He just isn't trying.
I thought it was like a metaphor for life or something.
Well, what is a metaphor is the stupid little bracelet that his daughter, not sister, makes him, the friendship bracelet,
I think it's a
and
stepdaughter.
yeah, it was like the colors of Scorpion. So I'm like, okay, so wait, he's Scorpion? I'm so confused. And I was like, you know what? I'm
The
just
whole
gonna.
movie, I thought he was going to turn into Scorpion. I was like, he's just going to be the Scorpion guy.
Yeah, I was like, when that bracelet happened, I'm like, wait, those are the colors of the guy that was in the first scene. I'm just gonna sit back. Where's my beer? Let's go, Mortal Kombat. You know, like it was very much like I'm thinking too much already, and I'm only 20 minutes into this. Like,
Yeah.
so, Marcin, go ahead.
I mean, like, if I was to give it a score, I think I would give it a 7 out of 10. And then I kept like kind of thinking about like some of the plot choices and the creative decisions in the movie and knowing the story, from the games and stuff. It was kind of teetering more to like a 6. But I think I'm going to leave it at 7 just because I would like to, wait and see what else they have in the sequel. So, because sometimes like it kind of sucks to I mean, I don't know. Sometimes judge a movie in like a vacuum if there's a planned series of movies and they have an arc of stuff they want to do. So, but from interviews, it sounded like he said it's up to the fans. So maybe they don't have a plan, which would drop it back down to a 6.
That's a scary.
But yeah,
I think they. I mean, I think they're clearly leading towards something. And I read that some of the either the writers or the director is signed on for three films.
the actor of Subzero signed on for 3 or 4 films preemptively, I guess. I mean, I don't think it's guaranteed, but he basically said,
right.
"I'll do it."
Right, so I think they definitely, and the way the movie ends, they're clearly setting a path. And I mean, this movie is, I think, Scott, you said at the beginning, it's kind of it leads into the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And so in many ways, this is, I mean, you could even almost say it's a prequel to Mortal Kombat, because hopefully we get the next movie, which will then, I guess, would be, I mean, god damn it, we'd be starting right where we started in this movie. Is like, we can't, it's the 9th tournament, like we've lost 9 in a row. We can't lose another one. And this all this stuff
that's more
happens.
spoilerish, kind of.
So, I mean,
But yeah, I was gonna say, so I think I think Kano was the highlight of the movie. I think the people who are portraying the characters I think it was great casting.
Yeah.
I think the writing could be better because I do think there were some cheesy lines, but it wasn't cheesy like where it like 90s fun cheesy like MK95. It was like, yeah,
when they
they didn't
tried to,
land.
I think
It
a
didn't
lot of
land.
it too was maybe when they were trying to like shoehorn some of the gaming stuff in there, like when Liu Kang would be like flawless or fatality, or like it was just it felt off. Like it did not jive with the way, because it was taking it super serious. And then you had this kind of silly one-liner. So
I didn't mind that one.
I was just using it as an example, but I think there were some that I thought they were kind of. I personally thought that was a cheesy one, but.
And yeah, like I said, I don't like some of the creative decisions that they made. Just knowing like the story arcs and all that kind of stuff. But again, I mean, I want the movie to have its own thing, and I think that I didn't mind introducing a new character, and I think that was like introducing Cole Young as a character. Before watching the movie was perfectly fine, and I wanted them to do their own thing. But after seeing the movie, I just don't think he offered anything to the movie at all. Like I know people are saying he's supposed to be like a vehicle or whatever to introduce us to the world, but like he also just didn't. I don't know. He didn't offer much in terms of dialogue. I don't know. The character and story progression was very what is like the word where it's like it's been cliche. There you go. It was very cliche in terms of like his introduction and what he's going through. And they did some characters dirty, the results with some of these characters is like, why would you do that to that one? But yeah,
I did. I saw an interview today with the director about why they decided to create a new character, and the way he justified it, which I kind of understood. He said that if you look throughout Mortal Kombat, throughout all the games, they're always introducing new characters, to the roster or whatever, to the MK universe. So they felt with this movie that as there's been a precedent for this in games, that they could do the same way in the movie. So I could kind of understand that, but going back to your point, Marson, is like when you do that, I think it's super important that you execute really well with
Make
this
them interesting.
character. And I think it's also, I would this character, could you create him and would he be playable in a Mortal Kombat video game?
He'd be boring as hell, but probably.
Yeah. I mean, I could see him as. I mean, like they had a guy called Cobra, who was like a boxer or a fighter in like one of the PS2 titles. So like
Huh.
they've had
I mean,
characters
after
like
he's
that.
unlocked all his bullshit arcana or whatever, and
Yeah.
whatever he is in the end, I don't even know like what he does, but
Oh,
uh, ability
question.
power and have body armor, I guess, and there's
Yeah, I don't
little
know.
sticks.
So in the games, is Arcana a thing at all? Is
No,
that okay? See, I don't know. Um,
no.
I do want to give it one praise because this could have easily happened. Not once in all the fight scenes or anything like that did they go into an obvious video game side view. So I appreciated that because there wasn't like, oh, this is a Doom movie, so we have to have a first person
Yeah.
zoom, like only see the fucking barrel of the gun as you go.
I think they did a really good job at showing respect for the source material. I think and if you look at the interviews, Simon McCoy has said many times and made it a point that they are very respectful of the source material. And some people may believe that it was disrespectful for adding coal or whatever bullshit, but like I think they did overall. I think they did a really good job. But like you said, Marson, you think they did some characters dirty, so I'm interested in hearing that when we get to the spoiler stuff later.
Uh, I think we can get into spoilers now. What do you guys think?
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
let's just jump in.
All right, so people watching, you can see on screen there, boom, spoiler discussion. Look how professional that looks. I did that. We're gonna talk about spoilers of this movie now. So characters that are in it, fatalities, who's this, who that, what happened, what do, what it do, what it do. And I do we want to read the comments now because those incorporate spoilers, or do
Sure.
we?
Okay.
Let's
Let's just
so
start off with the comments. Yeah.
yeah.
Let's do it.
So on Twitter, we had Matt Alien Monster at White Pony said, my expectations were low, but holy fuck. They should have centered the movie around Hanzo and his journey in hell. The other characters, mostly the created for the movie hero, have no charisma at all, except Cabal. So I guess he just forgot about Kano, but whatever. But thank you for the comment.
Yeah. Thank you.
You know what though? I think that could have been a cool thing if they had the financial backing from New Line to launch like an MK universe. They could
Yeah.
certainly have taken their time and be like, we're going to do a Scorpion film, and honestly, that could have been a perfect launch to the Mortal Kombat universe, and then ultimately you lead into the fucking Mortal Kombat after you've done a few of the singular character films.
Yeah.
That could have been a great way to do it. Obviously, they're like the film industry is in a much different state now than it was 2 years ago, and so maybe back then they may have had those discussions, but certainly now they're looking at making as a big a return on these films as they can get. So
I mean, this
whereas
movie was probably this movie's budget was 50 million. So, like, in terms of blockbuster, I mean, I guess that's a good chunk. But I mean, there are like much bigger movies that had like in the six figures range, and I think they'll obviously get their money back on this movie. It's not going to be a Mortal Kombat Annihilation. um, but yeah, that made no charisma at all except Cabal. I mean, Cabal, Kano had charisma. Uh, that was about it. But like people like Subzero. I mean, he's supposed. I like that he was just kind of a silent cold killer. Like he just shows up and just does damage and then leaves. I actually like that.
what did
About
they
him.
ever explain how he died, how Bihan died? Because he just like they never. He always see as he's this awesome assassin, and then we fast forward a few hundred years or whatever, and he's Sub-Zero now.
Yeah.
He's this zombie.
He's not. I don't think he's dead. He's not dead. He's just. That's the thing. They didn't explain exactly like how he's survived 600 years or whatever it was. I mean, but
Or
you know,
have an Arcana or whatever, or I guess
the Lin Kuei master, like the cryo. I don't know what it's called, but they all have like freezing techniques in that clan, essentially. So
Okay.
they all mastered that kind of freezing technique stuff. So maybe somewhere along the line that involves immortality. Like I can't
Or
honestly tell you.
they know some like Darth Sidious stuff, and they've like unlocked. They know how to beat death.
Well, I mean, they could involve ice. You know, like people like to jump in an ice bath and think that you know.
I'm sorry. I thought in the beginning, dude, Bihan looked like the most badass Jedi I've ever seen in my life. Like, I just looked at it because obviously the Jedi uniform are based, on a lot of like, Japanese, stuff. But I just thought his outfit looked so awesome. He was, man, he is such a cool. I love him as I watch Warrior a lot, so he's in that, and he is so good in that movie or that series.
Well, one thing that people pointed out in one discussion that I was listening to that I was like, yeah, you know what, that is kind of fucked up, was at the beginning when they're both talking and Sub-Zero is obviously speaking in Mandarin and Scorpion is Japanese. One speaking in Mandarin, one speaking in Japanese. But then at the end of this thing, then he says in English for the Lin Kuei in 1600 Japan.
Wait, he voices that?
In English,
yes.
It says for the Lin Kuei. So, like, from a storyline perspective, why would you be speaking English, in Japan, in the 1600s? That doesn't make sense, especially if you.
Maybe he's an old traveler.
Maybe the time traveler. I don't know. Maybe that's why he survived for 600, years. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I mean, I guess you don't have to explain everything, but I feel like those kinds of things. If you are putting the effort in to say this one's speaking Japanese and this one's talking, Chinese or whatever,
maybe they have like maybe
you
the
speak
studio
English.
is like maybe the studio is like, okay, we're only going to give you 10 seconds where you are able to have any sort of like foreign languages before you have to revert back to English. And they're like, that's where they ran up. And they're like, God damn it, we gotta get up to this. And then it's a whole studio thing.
I do think, like a lot of people say like their favorite part is the beginning and the end, and that's basically Sub-Zero versus Scorpion, and then at the end is Sub-Zero versus Scorpion, and that's their favorite parts of the movie. And I mean, I agree, that's my favorite parts of the movie too.
Those are the best fight scenes, so yeah.
Yeah,
but I think it's fine to those that are your favorite parts, but I still think there's stuff in between that is worth watching. It's not like
100%.
everything in between is like crap.
100%.
And speaking of speaking English for no reason, Scorpion, who has been in hell for hundreds of years and then comes back, is only speaking Japanese, but he says "get over here" in English.
I didn't think about that either.
I mean, I'm sure that fans were riding with the trailer that it was not Ed Boon saying "get over here," but at the same time, he probably. I mean, that Ed Boon was like, "Nah, you got it. You can have that."
What I was expecting though that we did. I don't know if we got, and correct me if I'm wrong, but did we get any cameos from actors in the original film?
No,
I don't think so.
That's that. If anyone I would have liked, and I can't remember the actor's name, but the original Shang Tsung, I would have liked for them to have included him in some form, because I think he's and a lot of the actors, and Marcy, you probably met a bunch of them in cons and stuff like that, but a lot of them have been very involved in the community and stuff like that. So it would have been neat to bring a couple of them back for this movie. So
yeah, I mean, like the digital actors or something. I mean, maybe they were, and we just obviously weren't paying attention to it. But yeah, like Shang Tsung was Cary Hiroyuki Takagawa. I did not feel that threatened with the new Shang Tsung. I didn't find him that threatening personally. I felt like
Him and Raiden were the
Takagawa's
weakest
Shang
characters, I
Tsung
thought.
performance in '95 was like, yeah, that's Shang Tsung. Like he
I
had
felt like
just
he
that
was like,
kind
we
of,
got Shang Tsung at home. The version.
yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, the
But
I thought Shang Tsung and Raiden were like the weakest characters. I felt
Oh,
yeah,
I thought
Raiden.
Raiden. Well, I mean, we got Christopher Lambert in the other one, so I love him. I love
I feel
his
like they just
portrayal.
added to the cheese, like
Yeah.
that. It was,
Like
yeah,
Christopher Lambert has never shown an emotion in his whole life. You know, he has the most like wooden like delivery. And we were watching it this week, and my wife and I were just both cracking up because we're also big Highlander fans. So there's that connection there. But I thought, yeah, I don't think Raiden was a very strong character necessarily, but I thought the actor played a much better Raiden than Christopher Lambert.
Oh well,
did in the
yeah.
original Mortal Kombat. So I just thought I liked his portrayal. Like also, how about this bullshit reasoning he had? Do you remember? You remember? Are we going to get into deaths? We're in spoiler territory. Can we?
yeah.
Yeah, I think I know where you're about to go, but yeah, go ahead.
Kung Lao gets his soul sucked out
That sucked. Oh,
by Shang Tsung.
Ah,
I love the sound they make before they get their soul sucked. You could have
I
said
felt like,
anything
like,
else.
You don't have to Cabal didn't have to like reiterate it or whatever. I felt like those are one of the lines I was like, yeah, that's unnecessary. Like you don't have you don't have to say that. That's a bit
Why did you
overdone.
say it like that? You could have said like when they get their soul taken or when they get their soul sucked out. You didn't have to say sucked like a dick. Like
You should have just added that at the end.
yeah.
Or like someone else,
like a cock.
yeah.
Son of
But
a
okay,
bitch.
so after that scene, they like escape, and they're kind of regrouping, and it's kind of that scene in Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, where Gandalf just died, and you've got the hobbits, and they're all crying, and Boromir is whining. But it's that scene. They're kind of like crying about Kung Lao.
Oh, when they're in
And
the
Jax-
void. Yeah.
Jax turns to Raiden and is like, why couldn't you just why didn't you save him? Like, why couldn't you just you're Raiden? Why couldn't you just do it? And I wrote down his quote because I thought this is the most bullshit thing in the entire movie. He's like, elder gods are forbidden from engaging in one realm's war against another. It is my job to protect Earthrealm, but I cannot save every soul within it. Like, yeah, I get it. Don't save like Johnny, down the street who's going to get hit by a car, but maybe Kung Lao, who
Yeah, maybe your
is
fighters were supposed to
super
defend your
important.
Earth
Yeah,
realm.
like why are you going to let Shang Tsung I get not saving everybody, Raiden. I get it. I really do. But maybe Kung Lao, who has an awesome hat, save that guy.
Because
and
he needed to get a headband on. That's why.
Yeah,
What?
exactly. I said like he teleported them to like this void area where apparently Shang Tsung can't go in and see them and get to them. Why couldn't he have just done that earlier? I don't know.
And then and then Cole, being the dumbass that he is, can't read the room at all, because Liu Kang is sitting right there, distraught that I think it's his cousin, right? Kung Lao's his cousin.
Something like that, sure.
Yeah, it's like brother, cousin.
Yeah.
Brother, maybe more of like a symbolic sense.
Or maybe, that would have been cool. But so obviously Liu Kang is like really distraught. So Cole's response to Raiden saying that is just like, no, it's not over. We still need a fight. And it's just like, dude, man, Kung Lao just got his soul sucked out.
But even his strategy was like, yeah, so we gotta fight. We gotta fight hard. We gotta fight fast. And then, you go here and you gotta fight, and everyone gotta fight.
Stereotypical superhero plan,
It sounded like a Scooby-Doo plan.
Yeah.
Like, all right, gang, let's split up. Like they're planning. Like, all right, you go take on this person. I'll take on this person. Yeah, go team. I don't know. I just felt like it could have just been executed better. I don't know, but it just fell off to me. But like honestly, I felt like the middle was a little rushed, in my opinion. I felt like it needed more time to breathe with some of the fight scenes.
They wasted no time, man. This movie.
Yeah, they just jumped. They just jumped in.
It didn't breathe. Which, like, it's funny because at the end I was like, holy crap, this movie's over. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't realize it had already been over, and I think that was probably
Was it?
I think that was a good thing for this film. If they had done more, maybe more character development, it would have felt like it slowed things down
The
too
the,
much.
the
And I
first
think that
one
might have been-
the first one has bad pacing. I do remember that because there's so few fight scenes, and then it is the actual tournament that they're fighting in. This one, honestly, like 2/3 of the way in when the fights were happening in the temple, Rachel and I were like, wait, is this the tournament? Or are they
Yeah,
preventing the
exactly.
tournament? Because it was never like, it was
Wasn't
never,
explained.
no one, there was no solid,
ref,
like,
no one rang the bell. It wasn't official. So
Yeah, it
was
wasn't
like a
like a
semi
fight.
tournament, and like that's the thing I didn't understand. Like, so they all showed up, and like you're not supposed to invade Earthrealm or show up at all because the 10th tournament didn't happen, but they showed up anyway, and they ended up fighting each other. So it's
Yeah.
like you're already breaking the rules right there. Like I just didn't understand why that was the decision that they made, and
Right.
like the Arcana stuff we talked about, that was made up, but I didn't mind that. But I felt like you also don't have to
Let's talk about that.
explain.
Can we sit there and talk about that whole thing? Because I feel
What?
like we need to delve into the Arcana stuff more.
Sure, yeah.
That is
Okay.
probably, I mean, outside of maybe Cole Young, that's probably the most like kind of controversial subject.
Oh, really?
Because in the original game and movie, it's just these characters were just, that's what they were. Like they had these kind of powers. They didn't activate them or anything, but it's really weird because like, I don't know if we've explained it. Basically, if you have the symbol, the
Birthmark.
like,
It's
Mortal Kombat,
it's definitely a
tattoo.
birthmark.
Well, it's not, because you don't have to, whatever, but
no, that was the joke I was making.
Yeah,
like, if anybody was taking this movie serious at all at any point, when they say this is a birthmark that's shaped like a dragon, then it's like, you're watching a Mortal Kombat movie, all right? Just ease up.
I've had this birthmark since I was born. That's a Tenacious D reference, sorry.
Oh.
But so if you have the tattoo or birthmark, but if you kill someone who has it, then you'll get it.
Mhm.
And then at some point you have to do something to unlock your Arcana.
Like,
and then
get pissed off or something.
that essentially is your superpowers, basically. If that's really what this movie is, it's a superhero movie. You unlock your superpowers when you get this thing. And then, but if someone kills you, then they can get it, which is really weird. But what did you guys think?
To clarify, they don't get that power. They just get the ability to unlock a power.
Yeah, I guess so does that mean everyone has like an innate power inside them?
I
And we
guess.
have to go hunt down people? Because I'll tell you what, if real people learn that shit, everyone's hunting down anyone that has one of those Mortal Kombat logos.
Well, everyone, like grandma down the street, is gonna be like, "Yeah, you know what? I want a laser eye. I'm gonna go beat up Sonya Blade or whatever." I don't think anybody, like, you actually have to know how to fight too. But
true, man.
I didn't mind the concept of the Arcana, honestly. I feel like that, but I also don't think you don't need to explain every single thing.
They didn't.
How they got these powers and all that. Like, just let them, fucking ice out of his hands because Subzero. Like, you don't have to explain it. Like, I don't think you have to explain it.
I think they neglected to explain a lot, like just Cabal walking up with a iron lung apparently and other stuff, which I thought it was interesting. It was interesting how little they explained and also how much they explained.
Yeah, they over-explained like how to get powers, but then there were certain aspects of characters that was like, all right, well, how did you get here? And I feel like a lot of it was catered maybe towards people who've watched or played the games before, so you just kind of fill in the blanks. But I mean, you can fill in the blanks, but you can't do that if then you're also like deviating from the certain characters' fates, I guess. Like you can't. I feel like you can't have it both ways in that sense. You know what I mean? So, like Goro, for example, I think that they treated Goro like some kind of monster of the week villain. when he's supposed to be like they treated him also as like this prince Shokan guy, like he had a big ass statue and all and whatnot. And then in the
Right.
original games, he basically helped Outworld win 9 straight Mortal Kombats, and then he just got shellacked by rubber suit dude with his sticks in
I
like
guess
a
he's
couple
the only
minutes.
one that he beat, right?
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like he lost his fucking MMA
Yeah,
fights,
he
and he
lost to
beats
Cole Young.
he beats four-armed Prince Goro in like a minute or two, but he loses all his MMA fights at the beginning, and he isn't that good the rest of the movie. And then he just 1-2 punches.
Did he use the uppercut?
I don't know if he used the uppercut. I know
Yes.
he opened his entrails and
That
gutted him
was
like a fish.
that was when the uppercut came back, and the entire reason she ever said it was so that he would use the uppercut against Goro.
Yeah.
So stupid. I appreciated though in the Goro fight. I really dug how it took place at Cole's house, and Goro shows up in their shed garage thing, and then Cole runs into there to hide, and he sets up the mirror, waiting to watch the entrance. And I thought that was funny that they took enough time to show that, but then Goro just fucking punches through the wall next to him instead of that, just totally negating any thought of like, I'm the intelligent hero, Like, I'm the intelligent hero. I thought I'm gonna outsmart him. No, he's just gonna punch through another wall, you idiot.
Like whole like sequence did feel like a horror movie, like when he opened the door with his 4 hands and he was like going like that. It felt I mean, one of the writers wrote for a horror movie, so I felt like they probably got influenced by that. But I don't know, it like I don't think I felt like Goro needed more. I don't know.
Well, you're right. They treated him like a movie monster.
Yeah,
like,
That's all it was.
Same with
like,
Reptile.
he didn't have much to say. He just fucking maybe said one line or whatever, and then they killed him off. And it wasn't even the tournament. Like it was like a kind of semi-tournament, but it wasn't the tournament.
And I feel like in the original movie, I really like what they did with Goro. Like, I know that looking at it now, he looks super cheesy and stuff, but that was all animatronic, a lot of it. And they put a lot of work into creating Goro. And so just from a technical standpoint, I think it's a really cool achievement what they did with him. And he's all CGI in this one. I didn't think he looked bad though.
No, he didn't look bad. Not at all. I just don't think he almost in certain angles he looked like the Hulk. Like his face looked like
yes, 100%.
Bannon.
Yep.
Or Bannon? Not Steve
Banner.
Bannon. Oh my god.
Bruce Banner.
Thank you. Bruce Banner, Jesus. I was thinking about someone else. Yeah, it looked like Bruce Banner just turned into Goro. And then
what
he was
did we
go back.
think about Reptile?
I didn't mind
looks...
Reptile. I mean, he has certain games he looks like a full-on reptile. Like he wasn't a ninja in every game. In 4, I think in 4, 5, and was he in 6? I don't know. But like those 3 games, he was just a straight up lizard, with 2 a bipedal lizard.
Well, in the original movie, how would you describe him? He was just this like tiny little reptile guy, right?
Well, I mean, they made him as a color palette ninja. In the first games, he was just a green ninja, and that's how they did it in Mortal Kombat. Huh?
In the original movie.
In the original movie, yeah, he was just a ninja with like this weird mask with like an open mouth and a tongue-looking thing.
No. You're forgetting the CG lizard that he was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he looked like he should be hanging out with Clippy in your Word document telling you how to spell things correctly.
I mean, but like also that sequence, I didn't understand either. Like he kicked, like it was the lizard, and then he kicked the lizard into that statue, and then the statue and the lizard turn into reptile. You know what I mean? Like that didn't make any sense.
Wait, in the first one? In the
in
95?
the 1995 version.
Yeah.
It was like Liu Kang versus that CGI thing, and then he kicked him in this statue with bugs.
Yeah.
And then he transforms into a reptile. But
I
didn't mind that either. I mean, someone had to die.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly. They had to have cannon fodder in this thing. But yeah. I want to stick on Reptile for a second because he straight up looked like Lizard Man in the first Soul Calibur, and that was ridiculous.
Yes.
I think his scene was done really well, and that did have a kind of a horror thriller suspense kind of vibe to it, which was neat. I appreciated how they got away with not having to show him a whole lot, and that that was probably cheaper for one. But it was cool how they did it with the flare. and also hilarious because what happens is Cole says Kano used the flare, so Kano grabs a flare, ignites it, and then uses his knife to stick a flare into Reptile, and it's the most hilarious thing in the world because you see this basically a flare on a string, like flying around the walls and stuff, because that's how they're tracking him. I thought it was the most hilarious thing, probably in the movie, but not intentionally. But I thought that was cool, and that was cheesy, but fun that Kano rips his heart out and then says Kano wins. I don't know.
I thought that was just part of his character too. Like I felt like
Yes, it made sense.
his lines he like his delivery was deserved because he was
Right.
just like that the whole movie. But like Kung Lao, I mean, I guess I honestly don't mind his, but yeah. And then Nitara was the winged lady. She was in Mortal Kombat 5, if I'm not mistaken. So she wasn't like the biggest character either. So I understood why then they just split her in half in
I
like a minute.
appreciated that because they made such a not a big deal, but like enough to like show her a couple of times with her wingspan, and that was a great introduction for Cabal because like she doesn't say anything, she just appears, and Shang Tsung's like how beautiful she is and whatever, and Cabal's first line in the movie is like yeah, that screech is a real turn on.
Is he wearing eyeliner in this movie?
Huh?
Shang Tsung.
Did he
He
have
had
a
something.
one-liner?
No, he looked like he was wearing eyeliner.
Oh,
Like, real bad.
no, I don't
They
think so.
they don't sleep in the outworld. That's what it was.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
So emo.
No, but I loved how much they showed her and like showed her off, so to speak, and then she gets fucking. It's no contest against shit. I'm losing track of names because I don't know the games. Kung Lao, yeah, one of the best kills in the movie, I would say, just because he just like a bobsled right into the bandsaw. It's great.
Yeah, I think that was his. That was his fatality in Mortal Kombat 9, where he just uses
Okay.
his head as like a buzzsaw on the ground and then splits him in half. Just
Yeah.
kind of fucked up.
Before we go, I think one thing that would be fun to try to do is if we go character by character and say if we like the character better in the original movie or better in the new movie.
Oh boy.
So whenever we get to that, I think that'd be kind of fun real quick.
Sure.
My entire favorite part of the film, before I forget it, I'm not joking, this is my favorite part, was when Kano and Sonya and Cole are in the desert or mountains or something, in middle of nowhere place in Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. And they're walking around, they're like, oh, we got to find this place, whatever. And then, oh, Jesus Christ, what's his name? Help me.
Okay.
Liu Kang shows up with not wearing this yet. I have a cool red bandana on, listeners, by the way. But Liu Kang shows up and shoots a fireball at Kano, and then Kano's like, "What? How the hell do I learn that?" Or something like that. Like, you get super. I want to tell me how you did that. And then Liu Kang slowly walks up to him and is like, "In time, you will learn," or something like that. Slowly puts his hand on his shoulder. He's like, "In time, you will learn." And Kano's just like, "The fuck?" I lost it. I'm like, yes, this is great. This is how anyone would. Was it? I hope so.
Yeah, that was an ad lib. The fuck, that part where he puts his hand on and says the fuck, yeah, that was an ad lib.
Yeah, because it's just so. Because there's so many times where this movie starts to take itself too serious, or characters do, and then Kano's there to bring us all back because that's what it was. It was just like, in time, you will learn. The fuck? And it doesn't. It's not acknowledged. Also, they don't like stay on jokes and things like that, I feel, which is really well done.
I think that also is like they take a lot of that Marvel kind of way of dealing with interjecting comedy and kind of like in creating levity. Marvel did such a great job of doing that, and I think a lot of people are kind of taking those cues, and they did a really good job of that in this movie, doing that.
I think so too. Another like giant stupid thing I want to point out is they go to the temple, which is, I was expecting candles everywhere and like chandeliers, entirely candles, like Harry Potter almost or something. And no, we got like fluorescent lights over top of Jax's surgical bed, just hanging in nets. And also, don't worry, the Shaolin, is it the Shaolin monks, I guess? Just the monks or whatever.
Yeah.
They not only are they surgeons and doctors, but they also have all this tech around, and we're gonna make you some sweet ass robot arms. So we got you, bro. in
They
this
do
cave.
robotics, and like there's that thing in the middle that looks like something from Zordon's hideout in
Yeah,
Power
was that
Rangers,
like
the movie.
was that Raiden's
Why not, man?
something?
Why can't the Shaolin monks have some awesome stuff?
That's true.
It just like glaring things that didn't make sense, but for the sake of plot, they were in there, you know.
I know it's funny.
And I yeah, I was gonna mention Johnny Cage. I don't know if we want to get there yet or not, or if you want to get there through the character comparisons or something.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
I
the best line from Kano was, "And who are you two? You're some fucking cave-dwelling hippie twirling his anal beads, taking orders from his wushu wanker who wears a hubcap as a helmet." And then he says, "Now sit down, shut up, and pass me a fucking egg roll."
I
Yeah.
lost it at that point. I was.
It was
That was
great.
part of the line of the movie.
Yeah, that was all very good. And especially when Kano's like, I mean, just left and right. He's like, I wanted to get to fucking shit. I just you got that, you get that. I mean, sometimes you get a bitch ass thing like a shitty shitty frisbee hat, you know, something like
He's
that.
like, "Yeah, you all saw that laser beam. It's better than fireballs, you pussy."
So good. So good. Yeah, do you want to lead us down the character roster there, Chris, or what do you want
Sure,
to do
let's
here?
do it. I got you. We're gonna
Okay.
start with Sonya Blade. Do
I
you like
want
the
to
original
say
actor or the new one?
the new one because in the first movie, you know, she was in Billy Madison, whatever else, Last Action Hero, but she was not believable as a special forces or anything beforehand. Like she was too I don't know how this is gonna sound. I don't care. She was too pretty to be. It was like Jessica Alba as a scientist in Fantastic Four or whoever it was. I forget. Because it was like in the original movie, you see her walking through. What so what? That's what I think. It doesn't make sense. Like in the first movie, like I feel like she's standing too perfectly to balance books on her head, but like the Sonya in this one is rugged. She lives in a trailer. She's not like she's just wearing a stupid tank top and she's got all this other shit. A little bit crazy with their yarn board.
I felt like she was basically what's her name from Terminator?
Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor mixed with what's her name from Halloween?
I don't know.
Oh
her
my
actual
god.
name.
In the new Halloween, because she's super awesome. Jamie Lee Curtis is I can't remember.
Oh, I don't know her character's name, but yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis.
But anyway, she's basically that, just like the super badass, like special forces, and she's really awesome. But yeah, I will agree with that, Scotty. Not necessarily for your reasons, but I do think the new actor is better.
Well, I feel like she was just more relatable. I felt like in the first, like, I thought Bridget Wilson, I liked Bridget Wilson as Sonya Blade, but I felt like she was too angry. I don't know, like she was like very like she had a stick up her ass the whole time. You know what I mean? Like I thought like she needed like I don't think Sonya Blade was completely like I think the current one had more dimensions to her.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I thought like she was more, I don't know, human and likable. I don't know.
Yep.
All right. So we're all in agreement then. The new one. Cool. Here's a new one. This one's going to be interesting. Kano. Which one do we like better?
The new one.
Yeah, for sure. And I think him getting acid or whatever thrown on his face pretty much guarantees he's going to be in the next whatever movie thing. Because I wondered about that from the first one because I was like, I thought I remembered him having like a horrible. He had the, you know, in this one he gets his face scratched and that leads to his laser eye somehow. Who cares? But I was like, I thought he had like basically a cyborg face for no reason in the first one.
There's like a plate on his eye.
Yeah, and then
and he has a heart thing on it in the middle of his chest too, like this light thing. But
okay. So, but that kept getting that was like in the back of my mind while I'm watching this movie, and I wasn't sure about it. Again, not a Mortal Kombat pro here, but then when he gets something chucked at his face from Sonya, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, he's gonna come back. Deaths do not matter in this. Please bring Kano back.
Yeah, that was a retarded gnome in his eyeball.
But
yeah, I think he's definitely going to come back in the next one with a plate.
Well, that's what I think too. But then that's what pisses me off about their direction with the markings because you get the marking when you kill somebody, and she got her marking by killing Kano. And it can't just be defeating, right? Because at the beginning of the movie, what's his face? Cole kept losing the whole time, so he should just be losing his marking to everybody, you know?
Like, yo, bro, I got like 1,000 more souls. I'll get you. And,
Yeah, I mean, that's why Shang Tsung was like, they threw that line in there where it was like, death is only another portal, basically. Because Subzero turns into Noob Saibot.
I was way too high when I watched that, and when he said that line, I was like, "Oh my god,
that's deep."
Right? Whoa.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was like, "Is he gonna fucking quote Vigo from Ghostbusters 2 pretty soon here or something?" Because what is that line? God, I can't remember now. He gets his head cut off, and he's like, "Death is a time is a vessel, death but a doorway. I'll be back." Something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
it sounds a lot cooler than what Shang Tsung said. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
I'm going to go with the original one because I thought he was every bit as good, but I thought he was able to play the character probably more in line with the kind of character Kano really is, whereas he was saying some pretty crazy shit in that movie.
I don't think it was that controversial.
I have to go back and listen to it, but it wasn't too controversial. All I'm saying is like you could not say those things in a movie today. Is all I'm saying.
I think I remember he's just incredibly sexist.
It's very
right?
sexist and just overly like sexist and chauvinistic stuff. Really, right. I mean, it was they skirted the line in this movie much better, and I thought, but I'll just go with the original Kano. Let's keep moving. Okay, Subzero.
This
I
one
don't
for
even
sure.
remember.
I mean, like I just think the original Sub-Zeros and Scorpions, I'll just knock out both. They were just treated more of like stuntmen side pieces than anything with any dimension.
They were under like Shang Tsung's spell.
Yeah, they were just kind of like bodyguards or whatever.
Yeah, they were almost like zombie. They didn't really have personality. So I think it's a shoe-in first. For me at least, I'll go Sub-Zero. Or the new one. The new one.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. What about Jax?
Probably the first one, honestly. I thought he was I kind of liked him before he got his arms in this newer one. I feel like he had more depth or something. I don't know.
I thought his tiny robot arms looked goofy, but I think
I love the tiny robot arms.
Like, come on, pick it up.
I forgot about those until
I thought they were like held together by like chicken wire. I was like Winston was like trying to lift the rocks up. I thought they were just gonna rip off his hands. Like they just
with my good hand
hammered in those metal arms into his like limbs. But I don't know. Yeah, the first movie had a different Jax. Then Annihilation had another actor who portrayed Jax. But we're just talking about the first movie, or do you want to include Annihilation?
No, we're not. Any other ones?
Yeah. I mean, this one. I mean, again, this one has just more character. The other one just kind of showed up for a scene or two. He said, "Sonya, where are you?" And that's it. So, the new one.
I'll go with the new one as well. Okay, this one's gonna be fun. Raiden. So we got what's it? Is it Tadanobu Asano or Christopher Lambert?
I'll go with Christopher Lambert. I don't know. I just liked it. He's just so fucking stupid. I don't know. Like it's just so good. I don't know.
It is an iconic performance. I will say that. Like
I don't know if it would work with the current movie, but like I feel like his performance was like so. I don't know, 90s. I don't know how to describe it.
I read an article or maybe I watched a video about the making of, but like they needed him in that movie because he's the only one with any star power for that film. And I want to say like, I mean, it was almost kind of beneath him to take it, I think at the time, because he was still doing Highlander and some other stuff, but it was a really big deal that they got him in it. And I heard, or from what I read, is like he was really like invested in the character and stuff, and it seemed like he had a lot of fun with it. Like he was doing ad libs and all this other kind of stuff. Like he had some great lines in that. So I'll go with the original one as well.
Well, I think also he brought people in because the 95 Mortal Kombat did not have decades of a fan base yet, so they needed something to
and so much story that they expanded into as well.
Right. And
was the
let's
other
face
thing.
it, they needed a little something for the ladies to look at. And Christopher Lambert was a pretty hot thing in the '90s, I'll tell you.
Well, with long white hair and a robes and a pointy hat out of a wicker mask.
That Loggle snap.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I mean these are characters from the Mortal Kombat movie. They actually created a skin pack for Mortal Kombat 11, where they brought back the original actors and they voiced all their lines
Wow.
as the characters. So you can just look it up. Obviously, if you like, you don't want to play them, but they're on YouTube. And Lambert came back to voice his Raiden,
No kidding.
which is pretty cool. And I think Bridget Wilson, Lyndon Ashby, who did Johnny Cage. I think those were the three that they brought back, and I think they all revoiced their lines, which is pretty cool.
Well, you just convinced Chris to buy that game.
I did. Yes,
and Shang Tsung, actually, he wasn't a DLC character, but they brought the original Shang Tsung actor to his likeness and his voice as Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat 11, which is also
what was the
pretty cool.
original Mortal Kombat movie Shang Tsung's actor?
He's Kerry Hiroyuki Tagawa.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
He's still with us,
He's 70 right now. Yeah,
he's still man, and he's still. I mean, I don't know right now, obviously, but he's doing conventions and stuff too.
I think so. He did.
Yeah, man, that's someone I would love to take a photo with one of these days.
If we can back up real quick to Scorpion though, they did a real good job of making, like, in the behind the scenes stuff. The actor who played Scorpion, he's not an older guy. They did a good job of making him look like an older guy and also a dead guy in this movie. Because I thought he was like the oldest member of the cast, but no, he's not. He didn't look it at all in the behind the scenes stuff. So good job to them, old and dead.
Yeah, we hadn't gotten to Scorpion yet, but
I thought we tackled him and Subzero or something.
I think we were in agreement. Yeah, that he was next on the list, but I think we can all be in agreement that everyone's voting the new one for Scorpion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, without much.
He's also actually 60 years old.
He doesn't look it when he's in the interviews anyway.
But shit, he's 60 years old. He moves like that. Fuck that. Dude. Like I'm like complaining getting up out of my chair. Like, I gotta stretch.
Yeah.
I have a feeling for this one. Shang Tsung.
The original.
Yeah, definitely.
Movie. Yeah, that's
until this new one becomes a meme. Then this the old one for sure.
Yeah, I mean the original. He's so iconic that after that, you say Shang Tsung and that's immediately what my mind thinks. Like right. Gandalf, I think of.
Yep.
Sir
Next.
Ian McKellen. I was
right.
Here, but I was joking. Okay. Liu Kang. It's gonna be an interesting one.
I think the new one's a good Liu Kang, but I think Robin Shaw was just the MK1 and 2. I don't know. I think I just like his character better. His portrayal.
Well, he played a more important character, didn't he? In the original movie. I mean, it was kind of
he's
like the main character.
He was kind of like the focal point. He was
exactly. I mean, I think that also just helps my perspective though, because in this one he was just treated more like a tacked on side character kind of, and he wasn't given enough backstory either, even though he's supposed to be like the chosen one and all that. But I guess that goes to Cole Young.
Yeah, just kind of emphasized.
Is Roman Reigns in this movie. Cole Young gets the push, and fucking Liu Kang, is
honestly, again, like I was fine with Liu Kang not being the focus because I'm like, all right, well, they're just doing Liu Kang again, which is like, if you're giving it to Cole Young, great, but like you didn't utilize him and give him good lines and whatever. But yeah, original Liu Kang.
Yeah, they just give him Wakanda armor.
Yeah, exactly. Wakanda.
God damn it.
Well, they did. That's exact. The Black Panther, his armor it absorbed energy and whatever, and then it creates a blast of energy as a offensive.
You're not wrong.
That's exactly what his freaking gold shit did. Yeah.
I know what you'll do.
I wonder if actually what you just said, Marcin, was like if Liu Kang was the main character of this movie. I wonder if someone was like, oh wait, if we do that, then we're basically just doing the '95 movie. So let's just get another character to be the main dude.
I get it. Yeah, I get it, but I don't know. Should have just made him better.
Tito.
Yeah.
One of the most popular characters is just Johnny Cage. Anyway, let's go. Kung Lao did we have Kung Lao in the original movie?
I don't
No,
think so.
there wasn't one in the first and second, but there was a TV series live action in the 90s called Mortal Kombat Conquest, and they did have him in that
All
as
right,
the main character.
all right. We'll go with that one. We'll go with that guy.
But I mean, I like this new one better. But again, they just like he's just kind of like a side character, and then they just toss him aside again. You know?
You know what though? I really like the actor who played him. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know if I've seen him before, but you're right. Like I wanted to see more of him.
Yeah.
And I was interested in him more, and it sucks the way he died because it's just like God damn it.
I feel
Maybe he
like
can come back too.
oh yeah, everybody's coming back. Don't worry. I feel like that he
We can't
compared to
start
the
that.
yeah, exactly. Compared to the other like self-proclaimed warriors and everything, I feel like he did the best with less dialogue. Like he had a lot of facial expressions that like with his smirks and his eyebrows and stuff that I think he did pretty well with comparatively to the other warriors that were just bad
Mhm.
line after bad line.
Yeah.
I mean, he also like his acting history. It's a lot of just being a stunt double or a
Right.
stunt performer, and he was like an extra and a bunch of uncredited roles. So this looked like his basically, starring role thing. And I thought I thought he did a good job with it.
He did. I
And
liked
all
it.
of them basically did their own stunts. I think everyone was essentially some form of martial artist
And I
or
I
stunt
think it
maker.
shows because I think that like we were saying earlier, like the fight choreography is probably the strongest point in this movie.
Hmm.
I think it's what it's got going for it. But the other ones, Melina, Nataro, and Reiko, I don't know if which of those were in the original movie. Was Melina?
Molina was an Annihilation.
Okay.
But yeah, she came and went. They did a mud wrestling match in
Oh, that's
Annihilation. It was
right.
basically like Jello pudding, or whatever. And then she came. Yeah, she came and went and died. The new one, I like the new one. I know some people are like, why doesn't she look like the character in the games and whatever? But I'm like, I'm fine if people took creative direction with their character designs. Like I didn't mind that. Like when I first saw her in the trailer, I thought maybe where's her fangs, but later in the movie she did like unhinge her jaw and show more teeth.
When she did that though, I was like, oh my god! Like
You were freaking out.
when it just you could see like all of the flesh just rip
Yeah.
open and
Yeah.
reveal all of her teeth.
I thought it
that
was good.
cool. I thought it was a really and kind of going back to the horror thing. Like I could see maybe like how that played into some of that with the writer.
Fucking Ichi the Killer. No, thank you.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much the cast there. So
What about Johnny Cage? What'd you think about him in this one compared to the other one?
I mean, obviously they're teasing it, right? So that they were planning on having a sequel.
Yeah.
And I've seen people on Twitter saying they should do The Miz, who's a wrestler. I'm like, I do not want The Miz as Johnny Cage.
No. That's
Fuck
like
I
getting
hate him. I hate him.
that's
I hate him. I hate him. I hate him.
having the Miz for him. I barely know wrestling and I know who that is, but having him as Johnny Cage is just as believable
I mean-
as fucking Dwayne the Rock Johnson in the Big Trouble in Little China lead role instead of Kurt Russell. It's like
Can we cast
neither of
Maurice
them
in it, though?
neither
Can we
of
get
them
Maurice?
look like you've got to
I would
have
prefer Ryan Reynolds if you were going for like a big actor, which The Miz isn't obviously a big actor, but like
No.
if you're going for someone like top billing, I guess I'd be fine with Ryan
What about
Reynolds
John
as Johnny
Cena?
Cage.
you've
No.
just got to
John
god damn
Cena,
it.
I could get behind John Cena.
As Johnny Cage? No.
Yeah, I
You
could
do.
entirely see that. It's just got to be more of an everyman. It can't be a dude that has biceps the size of school buses. That's the problem. Is you got to get somebody who's it looks like a doofus or can look
So-
like a doofus but be badass.
I guess okay. How this movie ended? Like where would you guys like to see it kind of go if there is a sequel?
I mean, I think I would like to see an
Ooh.
actual tournament, but I don't know if they're going in that direction because I also saw interviews with the director where he said he didn't want to do that kind of structure. And then he used, other games as kind of like an excuse to not do a tournament like setting. But
God.
I don't know. I would like to see something like that, but I don't think we will. But if I had the
Yeah.
option, that's what I would want.
I think it makes sense to have it as a tournament because they kept talking about the tournament and then didn't have a tournament. Um, and it would, I think it, no, I was going to say it would make sense for the tournament to happen in Outworld, but maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. I think we'll probably see more of Outworld in the next one, maybe. Um, and I think that it was done well, though, for this one, how the fight I appreciated how the fights were not like now it's your turn to fight. Now these two get to fight. Like I appreciated like this fight's happening while this fight's happening while this fight's happening. So I thought that was well
Yeah.
done. So I feel like maybe they will not do a tournament because they don't want to have
Well, the
your
inherent
turn,
problem
you know.
that they have with just the setting up where the story takes place is that you literally have the stakes can't get higher right now because the Earth realm has lost 9 in a row. And if they lose the next one, then then they lose. So, but if they win, then where do you go from there? And
Mhm.
so I think what they're doing as writers and where they're taking it is like they don't want to get to that point yet. That's like at the end is where
Well, I mean, it depends how much they're borrowing from the story because they could totally just win. Because, like I said, we won the 10th Mortal Kombat, and then Outworld invaded anyways, and then in Mortal Kombat 3 or whatever, there was like this merging of Outworld and Earth Realm, and basically it was like a mix of both realms together. And then Mortal Kombat 4 was elder gods, and then they had a deadly alliance and all that. So like there's a lot that they can where they can go with this. But I guess we'll see. I don't know, but I'd like a tournament.
Yeah, I agree. I think you have to get a tournament going. I wouldn't be upset if they decided to do like split it up over maybe the two movies if they could get that and maybe have the tournament go over the two movies and have a culmination at the end and then that's how you kind of end it all and finally Shang Tsung's defeated and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
uh,
Um we forgot to read the Facebook comments, so I'll do those right now just
okay.
for the hell of it.
Go for
We got some great ones here. I'm not going to read any of the names. I'm just going to read this conversation or discussion. Great film, lots of blood and gore, proper fatalities. Storyline is more true to the video games, better than the 90s films for sure. I agree, mate. I thought it was class. It's a film I can watch again, definitely. And mean, mate. Just booked tickets to go later this week. First one is better. The movie was absolute garbage. Sucks.
it.
Uh,
Devolves from there.
yeah, and then do you guys want to hear what Graham had to say?
Yes,
Yeah,
Graham
I
wanted,
want
Graham
to
wanted
say.
everyone to know his thoughts. So I
Yeah,
think
he
it,
took
I
the
think
time
it's
to write it.
yeah.
Yep.
Let's do it.
He said, I really love T and think Scotty does a better job than me at everything. The end. No, he said, he says, I honestly can't tell if Mortal Kombat 2021 was mindless fun or pure garbage. Generally, I like the characters, especially Kung Lao, badass, Subzero, baddie badass, Kano, he was annoying, but he had character. Of course, Graham hates the character that everyone loves. And Scorpion. But Sonya, Jax, and the main guy were so vanilla. Kinda sucked they were the main focus. Overall, the combat was decent, but a few times where it was just too ridiculous, like how fighting reptiles. Sonya asked the main guy to. He never says Cole's name in this. He said how fighting
Probably forgot
reptile.
his name.
Yeah, Sonya asks the main guy to throw her a knife, and she does some crazy slow mo jump somersault, catches the knife, and uses it to hurt Reptile. Remember, she's not meant to have special abilities, and every other time she fights, it's normal fighting, quote unquote. The script was atrocious at times, and the plot was mediocre at best. I'm interested in a sequel, although it feels like they've exhausted some of the best characters too soon. Sub-Zero, Scorpion, Kung Lao. Overall, I way preferred 1995 Mortal Kombat. For one thing, Goro survived more than one fight.
Yeah,
Of
I mean, I'll
course.
give him the Goro part, and I think as a movie as a whole, I think I did prefer the original to this one. But I think this series has much more potential than where it landed with Annihilation, of course. Um,
Right.
so yeah, I think I'll keep my rating as 7 out of 10, and then just wait and see where the next movie takes us.
Um, yeah. I don't want to comment on Graham's comments because he's not here to defend him, but I like this one better than the original. Uh-oh. So, and I don't think we had any other comments. No, doesn't really look like it. Oh, if we're comparing characters from the 95 and current, what'd you guys think of the theme song?
Dubstep. I don't mind the remix, but I prefer the original over this one. It
Mhm.
seemed like a cheap, I don't know, remix of it. I don't know. I prefer the original sound.
The original
You know,
one,
it's
yeah.
going to be interesting because there's definitely going to be fans who are going to go back and like put in the original soundtrack to the movie.
Oh, probably, yeah.
It'll be fun watching it that way and just seeing if which one's better.
Oh, that's the other quick thing. I think the soundtrack in the whole movie it was missing music that adds to the just the overall fighting essence. I thought like the Mortal, though Annihilation was shitty, I thought they had a great soundtrack in some of their fight scenes, and I think that's what was missing in this movie, because I think the actual soundtrack was kind of bland, if I'm being
It
honest, in
sounded
this
like
movie.
it was going to get into the OG, you know,
Like when she was fighting Melina for like a little bit, it sounded like that techno stuff, but like then it just kind of disappeared, and I thought it needed
Mhm.
that. Like it really
Oh
helps.
yeah, there was some chip tunesy stuff kind of throwing it to make it like remind you it's a video game here and there as well before going into
Yeah.
synth stuff. I think I felt anyway. Yeah. I think that's gonna just about do it though. Do you guys have any like closing thoughts on this movie or on anything about it at all?
I feel like I got what I had to say out of it.
Yep.
I think if you're a fan of Mortal Kombat, you should definitely go see it. If you like the movies before, I think you should at least watch it once. I watched it twice. I still like enjoyed it. The second time. Maybe I'll even watch it a third time. My brother apparently watched it like 4 times this past weekend. I think he
All
might
right.
be a bigger fan than me, but yeah, I told him what I thought was wrong with it. He's like, "Yeah, you're right." So yeah, but definitely if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, you should at least see it once.
You know what? I think it's perfectly fine to have those issues with the movie and still like it.
For
Because
sure.
I'll tell you what, I think this has some of the best fight choreography I've seen in any video game or movie based on a video game. You know, it's
Right.
awesome. And just from that alone, I think it's worth watching. It's some of the fighting is really well done.
Yeah, I mean,
And
even
the
if
gore
we're
is
like ranking video game adaptations, I think this is still at the top. I mean,
yeah,
obviously it's a low bar, but I think it's definitely up there for sure.
Mhm.
yeah.
I watched it twice, mainly for the purpose of this podcast, but I would watch it again. Would I buy it? Maybe if it had cool like bonus stuff. Um,
Mhm.
I I think it was well done overall. I think the hate, like I think it was a good movie. But I also don't know the source material as well as you guys. So
I
maybe
think it
that says
clouds
something
people's
about it.
judgment.
Yes. Like I hated the Sonic movie, but I genuinely think that's not a good movie, not just not a good Sonic movie. But I'm a huge Sonic fan, so maybe that's why I think this movie is okay. I don't
Yeah,
know anymore. All I care about is it was a fun ride for me.
yeah.
So, it's not going to end my world if it's a bad movie about something I love. Michael Bay already did that. So I think that's gonna do it. And it's Wednesday. We've got stuff coming up all week. Tomorrow night, if you're watching this live, I'm hosting the Thursday night throwdown. We're gonna play Sonic and All Star Racing Transformed again. It's our monthly go around with that insanity. Wednesday, I think Graham will be battling in the Wonder World. And Saturday, Happy Dude's got stuff going on. We got stuff going on every day. And we actually are going to come back on Sunday for another podcast. No clue what we're going to be talking about, but it's going to happen. Marcin, anything going on housekeeping wise you want to talk about real quick?
Well, if people are tuning in for the first time, don't forget to check out our website. That's megavisionsmag.com, where you post daily news articles, reviews, and other retro features and content. So check that out. Like you said, we stream basically every day on Twitch. including podcasts. Normally, we do them on Sundays, so check that out. Always around noon Eastern time. We also have a Patreon, which you can check out at patreon.com/megavisions. And then we are on almost every social media platform: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. No TikTok. I'm sorry to tell you guys, we don't have a TikTok.
Never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen. I think that basically does it.
Chris, you got anything?
Yeah, I will say this: do not waste your time jumping on the Patreon if you are waiting, because I'll say this: we'll announce it publicly, but there's not a lot of time between now and when we are going to have the cutoff for this next issue, meaning only our active patrons are going to get guaranteed an issue for this next one. And that's just how we do each issue. We will do an overrun on printing, which will sell some at our website and at conventions and things like that in the future. But I would highly suggest just jumping on the Patreon. That way you can guarantee your issue, which Scotty is holding up right now.
Scroll down and click on this cover, kids.
That's right. So that's all I have to say. This has been
All
fun.
right.
Thank you guys
Awesome.
for having me.
Glad
it's been a while, and it's been fun.
Glad you're able to hang out with us. And two other things I'll plug real quick. If you check me out on YouTube, I did just do a unboxing of Balan Wonderworld. It's ridiculous. I do parody unboxings, and it was fun. And yeah. But also, if you scroll down a little bit more again, you'll see that a Sega Saturn marathon is coming up May 15th. It's going to be a little mini marathon, 12 hours, celebrates Saturn Day, which is around this time. And also, it's an excuse to kick off some donations for Extra Life, which we do every year. Be cool if you could come and hang out. You could win a copy of Bug or a copy of Daytona or maybe issues of our magazine. What's going to happen? That is, again, May 15th coming up, people. So what we're going to do right now is raid Mr. Scoot. He is a pretty cool dude. And, of course, since he's cool, he's playing Mortal Kombat right now. So if you want to hang out and go show him some love, people, tell him Megavision sent you. Otherwise, keep the dream alive. Need an exit quote. Whatever. We're going to go raid in just a couple of seconds, and then I will put up a transition because I'm a smooth as hell host. Let's go ahead and raid him. See ya. Honey, I gotta tell you about this sandwich. I think we're done. Yes, it worked.